Back here on TCL TV, we apologize for any technical difficulties. Our Wi-Fi network overheated here in the party box at Riverside Stadium, but to recap, it is a 1-1 count now here on Mario Mendoza Jr. as we've now flipped it over to the bottom of the third inning as Mendoza has to duck that breaking ball from Riley Kettner, who remains on the mound, forced to gain 2 balls and a strike. As Adam Peavy, which is where we left off before that technical difficulty break, Adam Peavy struck out to end the top of the third inning, and Xavier Perez stole second base. So once again, Seguin leads a runner on in scoring position. It has now left 4 runners on in this contest already tonight through 3 innings. And that is now where we have put us now, as Tronson has once again escaped yet another jam with a combined 3 hits already tonight, 2 of which from Seguin, both of which coming from Xavier Perez in his return to Riverside Stadium. The 2-2 for Mendoza is lined in the left center, and it's over the glove of Ryder Hernandez. It'll be a leadoff base runner in the form of Mario Mendoza Jr. Mendoza, who was in a very struggling summer for much of this summer. Now coming through here to lead off this bottom of the third inning. Mendoza just his 6th hit in his 37th try. Came into tonight batting a woeful 139, but able to reach base here on the leadoff base runner. This bottom of the third inning, and now we flip over the order for Connor Clark. First pitch from Clark is a bunt one that is bunted down for Kettner, and he won't be able to make a play. Connor Clark continues his red-hot series against the Stars. As Clark, who is 0 for 1 coming into this AB in the bottom of the first with a ground out to short. Perfect bunt placement down the right field line as he's able to do so, and Riley Kettner can't do anything about it. And it's runners sitting at first and second here in the bottom of the third with nobody out. And Damian Whitfield will now get a prime opportunity here to drive in a run, as Whitfield 0 for 1 with a strikeout, or 0 for 1 with a ground out back in the first. That was over to the second base bag. But it is a single in the left center by Mendoza Jr. and an infield single on the bunt by Clark. But now has Whitfield in prime position to drive in more runs as he shows bunt on the first pitch he sees. But it's outside for ball 1, 1-0. Whitfield collecting last night, of course, in that RBI triple in the top of the 10th inning. Collecting what was just his 11th run driven in of the summer. May I remind you, this is a man who scored 27 runs of his own. The 1-0 is another bunt shown, and that one's in fair territory. Joyce will have to make a throw to first for a close play, and it's not in time. Whitfield speed once again, the shining star for Victoria. And it is back-to-back bunt infield singles down the first, one down the first baseline and one right in front of home plate on the third base side, and it is now a bases-loaded situation with nobody on, as it is 3 consecutive singles against Riley Kettner. And we have a bases loaded with nobody out situation here, bottom 3. And Travis Bragg, who has had 7 runs driven in his last 8 games, gonna try to see if he can add to his RBI total now. 13 on the summer, batting .328 in 22 games. Trying to come through against the Riley Kettner, who is coming through in these struggled moments. Obviously gave up 5 runs, 4 earned in his debut. His return last week against Acadiana, that's ball 1. With Joyce, who's behind the plate for Seguin. Struggled to get back into a rhythm. This is his first game of the month of July. He hasn't been in the lineup since June 30th. The final game of the first half for Seguin, which they won. It's been a while for Whit Joyce to be in live game action, and that inexperience was probably showing just then. 1-0 from Kettner. Fouled back to the screen by Bragg, ball and a strike. We'll check the score out in Acadiana right now. Is currently at Faubacher Field in Youngsville, Louisiana. The King Cutters currently lead 2-1 in the top of the third inning. We are now bottom 3, so we are slightly ahead of them right now in Lafayette. If you're just joining us after the technical difficulty or rejoining us, Max Cepeda here from the Party Box at Riverside Stadium. 1-1 to Bragg. Outside corner, called strike 2. Great slider placement on the part by Riley Kettner. It's a 1-2 count on Bragg. Mario Mendoza Jr. at third, Connor Clark at second, Damian Whitfield at first. 3 straight singles, 1 to left center, and then back-to-back bunt singles in the infield. 1 down each first, 1 down each foul line. The 1-2 to Bragg. Inside, grounded right up the middle. Joyce will easily go home for out number 1. He'll go to first for a possible double play chance, but there will be no play made. But it's a simple ground ball straight to the pitcher's mound, and that will just be an easy out number 1 on the fielder's choice. So Bragg reaches and will replace Whitfield at first base. Damian now will advance to second and Connor Clark to third, as Mario Mendoza Jr. was easily called out on the fielder's choice, the simple 1-2 throw. For those of you scoring at home, as Riley Bender now comes to the dish, who is 0 for 1 with the fielder's choice ground out. Double play ends the inning for Seguin. Outside ball 1. Would be a sensational jam escape if Riley Kettner, I should say. It's Riley Kettner versus Riley Bender. If Kettner is able to escape this jam with the bases loaded and nobody out and not bring a single run across the plate, Bender, who leads the league in runs driven in, going to try to change that here, as he has, of course, that big number of 23 currently residing across the league. As he's ahead in the count, 2 balls, no strikes. 1, 2, 3, the general's order, all on base. Kettner's 2-0. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Kettner was thinking breaking ball, but the fastball is what he got, and he was well behind. 2-1. Generals crowned on the edge of their seats, hoping for the home side to take the first lead of this ball game, which has been so far a pitcher's duel. But Kettner now approaching 50 pitches, just 1 out here in the third. The 2-1 to Bender. High fly ball to right, but that one will go foul to the parking lot. It's 2-2. Jacob Sanchez sits on deck for Victoria. No runs on 4 hits for Victoria. No runs on 2 hits for Seguin. 3 of those 4 hits coming here in this third inning. Bender just needs 1 to get in the outfield. Seguin's defense in the infield spread out quite well. Kettner's 2-2. Inside and low, all 3. 1 more ball taken by Riley. Victoria takes the 1-0 lead on the bases loaded walk. How conservative does Bender want to approach this payoff pitch? Will he wait for the pitch to come to him? Or will he try to be aggressive? Riley's payoff. High fly ball to right. Going after it is Xavier Arias. It will be a sacrifice fly pay. Arias catches it for out number 2. The speedy Connor Clark comes home, and there will be no play. 1-0 Victoria on the sacrifice fly from Bender. RBI number 25, or number 24, as he continues to hold on to that lead across the league. It is out number 2 on the sacrifice fly. And advancing is Clark coming in to score the game's first run, and Damian Whitfield advancing to third. Travis Bragg remaining at first base, as he decided not to tag as well smartly. So it'll be runners at the corners with 2 away following the sacrifice fly to right field. And Jacob Sanchez will now come to the dash, who is 0 for 1 with a line out to short. On a soft line drive it was. As Whit Joyce has to readjust his catcher's gear, as both him and Sanchez had to step out of the box, and we'll wait for this first pitch here. Generals up 1-0 after the sacrifice fly by Bender. First pitch to Sanchez is inside. Could have nearly hit Jacob, but he did not move an inch as that one nearly graced the left pant leg of Jacob. He's ahead the count 1-0. Speedy Whitfield sitting 90 feet away, but the sacrifice fly is out of the playbook with 2 outs. 1-0 from Kettner. Just fouled back to the parking lot here just above the stands down the first base line. A ball and a strike here for Jacob. Generals have had to deal with close games in all three in this series and have had to deal with and have had to have their bullpen and pitching really support them in order to claim the victories. The first two in this series. Offense is yet to really carry the load so far against Seguin, as that one's inside for ball two. That's obviously a stark difference between what happened with Lake Charles, between the Gumbo Gators and Generals earlier last week, when the Generals had scored 7+ runs in the final 4 games of last week. Of course, scoring 7 last night, but two of those 7 runs had to come in the top of the 10th inning. 2-1's driven over to the shortstop side. Will be a close play as Hernandez will have to gun it to first, but it's there in time to end the inning. The 1 run is on the board on the sacrifice fly by the RBI league leader in Riley Bender, who collects his 24th of the summer. And Victoria, a third of the way home, has the narrow 1-0 lead as we go to the 4th on TCL TV. Stay with us. Did you know? Presented by Whataburger. Alvin Community College right-hander Hayden Tronson, who is on the mound tonight for your Victoria Generals, began his college career at Eastern Oklahoma State, but after throwing just 7 1/3 innings pitched, transferred to the Dolphins and threw more than 4 times as much with a 6.75 ERA. And Tronson, in his second TCL season last year with the Bombers, now here in Victoria, has hit his peak in the month of July, throwing at least 6 innings pitched in each of his last 3 starts, and will now begin his 4th inning of work. You're in this top of the 4th inning as we come back to Riverside Stadium. Max Cepeda, you're in the Party Box exclusively solo tonight. Here from the Party Box's beautiful night here on the Guadalupe River as the sunset now begins to show its face. So we just sit just beyond the 8 o'clock hour here in the Central Time Zone. Seguin will have 5, 6, and 7 due up here in the 4th, with Ryder Hernandez leading things off. Hernandez 0 for 1 on the night with a ground out to short, as that's a swing and a miss for strike 1, 0-1 to the incarnate word Cardinal. Victoria 1 run on 4 hits. No errors, and have left 4 runners on base. Both sides have left 4 runners on each, as that is a swing and a miss for strike 2. Lead down 2 strikes is Hernandez. Generals were able to get a run in the bottom of the 3rd inning if you're just rejoining us, on a sacrifice fly to right by Riley Bender. But left runners at the corners with 2 away on a simple ground out by Jacob Sanchez. That base is loaded with nobody out in the bottom of the 3rd inning, as that one's foul. Remains 0-2 to Hernandez. Generals had the bases loaded with nobody out and are only able to get 1 run. Better to get 1 than none, though, if you're head coach Michael Loros, as they take the early 1-0 lead. But Stars have come back from bigger leads before already in this series against Victoria. The 0-2. Fouled off the tip of the bat. Hernandez remaining aggressive. Count stays where it is. Scoring update from Southern Lafayette we will get right now, as last time we checked, Acadiana was in front in the top of the third inning. As it stands right now, top four, it remains a 2-1 lead for the Cane Cutters over the Gators. Gators trying to avoid a 7th consecutive loss as that one's popped up on the infield. Jacob Sanchez at first waits for it and will make the routine catch for out number 1 here in the 4th. Hernandez 0 for 2 on the night. So now Xavier Arias now returns to the dish. Arias was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd inning. Both him and Hunter Ham, who now sits on deck for Seguin, were both hit by pitches in the 2nd, but neither of them were able to score. As Seguin had runners at 3rd and 2nd base in the 2nd inning, but were both left on a clutch strikeout of the 9-hole hitter. That's a broken bat by Arias, but it's a ground ball is short on a slow roller. And Riley Bender gets it easily, as that will be two quick outs here, top 4. And the shards of wood from Xavier Arias' bat are now being collected, one of them by the home plate umpire, who hands it to, appears, Vinny Samuel, who is sitting on the bench right now. Actually, no, it's Orlando Samaniego, who's over there, who is collecting the broken pieces of the wooden bat. The bat remains intact, but appears some people in the Generals dugout are joking with Arias about the fact that pieces of his broken bat now lie across the artificial turf of Riverside, as that one's fouled back by Hunter Ham for strike 1 to the netting. Ham also, as we mentioned, was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd, but was tagged down at 2nd base on a fielder's choice. That could have been an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play, but was simply a fielder's choice that was delivered at 2nd base for 1 out. Johnson's 0-1. Way outside on the fastball, even count. Seguin following this series starting on Saturday. We'll then head to Southwest Louisiana to take on the Gumbo Gators. What should be a fairly interesting series between two teams that have been skidding as of recent, as that one is fouled down the right field line. That will stay in the ballpark as kids go after it near the right field gate, as it's a 1-2 count now, and a strike away sits Hayden Tronson from a 1-2-3 fourth. Tronson has yet to complete a 1-2-3 inning tonight. Neither pitcher has completed a 1-2-3 inning, even with the 1-0 scoreline. Here it comes. Just low, as Slackson able to stay in front of that one, as it's now an even count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Generals coming into tonight head and shoulders above the rest, 26-10. Both then and Brazos Valley, as we mentioned, combined 14 consecutive wins as Hunter Ham calls timeout. Generals with 6 consecutive victories, looking for a 7th tonight and an 8th victory in their last 9. Seguin, on the other hand, trying to end a 5-game losing skid tonight and claim their first of this 4-game set. 2-2 from Johnson. Another one outside, and as Laxon kept him in front, he lost the baseball, but does not matter with nobody on. The payoff pitch will now await here for Ham. Mentioned Ham already, the freshman out of Hill College, which is in northwest Texas near Lubbock. Ham 6'3", 200, the Katy native. Outside corner, no call, and that will be ball 4. So for the 3rd time tonight, Hayden Tronson allows a runner on with 2 outs in an attempt to complete a 1-2-3 inning, as he once again fails to do so. It will be just a simply 2-out base runner as Ham walks 90 feet. 2nd time he's been given a free pass tonight. And the first walk of the night allowed by Tronson. So with Joyce will now come back to the dish. Joyce nearly grounded into a 6-4-3 double play in the 2nd, but it was simply a fielder's choice ground out. And then while we were dealing with technical difficulties in the top of the 3rd, he stole 2nd base for his first stolen bag of this summer. So that one is on the inside half, ball 1. And from Tronson. Both bullpens remain empty so far for both sides. No surprise with just 6 combined hits on this Thursday night so far. 1-0. Outside corner, called strike 1. A pickoff throw over to first is not in time. It's an even count here for Joyce. Joyce, the freshman out of Lytle, Texas. UTSA is the road runner. Did not play, redshirted his freshman season. Lytle, a small town that's 24 miles southwest of San Antonio. He attended high school in the small town of Castroville, Texas, and Medina Valley High. So that's another pickoff throw. Joyce led the Panthers to a by-district championship as a sophomore, was named District Newcomer of the Year as Evan Aslaxon has to check on his catcher's gear. Earned first-team All-District honors as a catcher during his junior year, did Joyce. He also ran track during his senior season and was a part of National Honor Society. Has a sister, Kate. His parents are Amanda and Trace Joyce, and plans to study business at UTSA. 1-1 to the backstop. Outside corner, no call, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Victoria back at home for their only home series of the week before they head back on the road for this weekend. Take on a Baton Rouge Cougars side that have been all over the place in the month of July, as that one's on the outside half and another no call. And the Riverside Stadium crowd now is starting to gain a temper with the home plate umpire, as it is now 3 balls and a strike. Tronson now at 57 pitches through 3 2/3. 3-1 to Joyce. That one's on the outside corner, called strike 2. Joyce had walked 5 steps down to the first base bag and had already flipped his bat back to his own dugout, but will now have to walk all the way back to the batter's box in shame, as the payoff pitch now awaits here. Finally getting that outside slider to click was Tronson. He may want to go possibly back inside here. The payoff pitch with 2 away. Ham leading off first. Here it comes. He goes inside half. No call. Ball 4. Back-to-back free passes given up by Hayden Tronson here in this 4th inning, both of which coming here with 2 outs. And now the tying run sits in scoring position for Seguin, and head coach Michael Loros looks like he'll have a conversation here with Tronson. There is no one currently warming in the Generals bullpen, so this is just simply a talk of motivation, as Tronson appears to be getting the bad side of this strike zone from tonight's home plate umpire. Hunter Ham sitting in second, Joyce now at first, and the 9-hole hitter Colin Correjo now comes on deck, or now comes to the will be coming to the plate. Correjo was at the dish when there were runners at third and second in the 2nd inning when it was a 0-0 game, but wasn't able to drive in any runners. Oros having just a quick conversation with both Tronson, Aslaxon, and his entire infield. Outfield remaining out of this conversation, no surprise. And Oros will head back to the dugout, so we'll see if he decides to start to get the bullpen working, considering Coach Oros had 4 pitchers go in last night's 7-5 extra innings contest and had 3 go in Tuesday night's 3-2 victory, which was certainly less than you would think in that kind of ball game, but he was able to get the better half of the deal from his staff, and has only used 7 different arms here in this series. Trying to get length out of Tronson, who has, as we mentioned, gone at least 6 innings or more in each of his last 3 starts, and in a pickle here in the 4th. Correjo now here at the dish. First pitch. Inside fastball, but is found down the right field line. 1 here to Correjo. Mentioned Correjo is at a struggling summer, to say the least. It's his first time appearing here in this series. The Leander, Texas native, also a UTSA Roadrunner who redshirted. Was 2-time first-team All-District honoree, where he was at Roos High School in Leander. Was also involved with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, the FCA. No pitch here to Correjo. Hunter Ham at second, with Joyce at first on back-to-back walks with 2 outs. Johnson was originally looking for a 1-2-3 fourth, but now sits in a pickle with a tying run in scoring position. 0-1. Outside, ball and a strike. Correjo, son of Amanda and Kevin Correjo, has 2 sisters, Callie and JC. His mother, Amanda, a UTSA alum, where she played volleyball at the Division I level for the Roadrunners. His father, Kevin, also a former student athlete at UTSA in this very sport, baseball. Plans to major in kinesiology as that one's grounded into right field for a base hit. Rounding third and coming home is Hunter Ham. Long throw from the right fielder. That's close, but now Ham is caught in a pickle as Evan S. Laxon has now caught him with the third baseman, and now that will be an easy out number 3. What a rally from the right fielder, Diego Diaz, throwing one to Evan S. Laxon on a dime and able to retire it as he's able to just throw it easily to Drew Schmidt, who applies the tag on Ham to end the inning. Ham was rounding third and coming home. It was caught between third and home with nowhere to go. And great defense from the Generals here at home. We go bottom 4, and they protect their 1-0 lead. We'll be right back. The postseason bracket if the season were to have ended today, as the Cane Cutters and Baton Rouge Rougarous swapping spots after last night's games. The Cane Cutters are now into the postseason bracket, while Baton Rouge sits on the outside looking in. We've mentioned for the last few games now this week, because of their winning streak now at 8 in a row, the Bombers firmly ensconced in that second semifinal spot in the Texas side, with Seguin on the outside looking in. We now come back for the bottom of the 4th inning, after Seguin once again leaves 2 runners on, as they were gunned down, Hunter Ham at least at home plate, to end that inning after it appeared Colin Correjo could have possibly driven in the game's tying run. Ham was gunned down to end the top of the 4th inning and get Tronson out of once again another jam. We now go bottom 4. 6, 7, 8 due up for your Generals here bottom 4, with Evan S. Laxon leading things off, as he's now sitting on an even count, 1 ball, 1 strike, as that one ricochets off the left knee of Whit Joyce, as Riley Kedner, I should say, my apologies, remains on the mound here for Seguin. 56 pitches in 3+ innings. Seguin has now left 6 runners on base, with 3 hits and no runs, no errors, as that one's a soft liner to left center, but going after it is Dakota Howard, who makes the catch. As that looked like it'd be an easy swing for S. Laxon, but not able to get it to drop. It stayed in the air too long, and it's a quick out here in the 4th. 2 flyouts to center for S. Laxon tonight, so he's 0 for 2. And the same result both times, and now Diego Diaz, who's walked already tonight. Back on the 2nd, he walked with 2 outs, which resulted in nothing. Will now come back here with 1 gone here in the 4th. First pitch from Diaz is grounded over to the right side, as the man who made the spectacular play to end the top of the 4th, gunning it from straightaway right field, is quickly retired on 1 pitch, and it's 2 quick outs here in the 4th. Diaz should be given a whole lot of credit, a man who was in his first full game as an outfielder, even though grounding out in that situation. Diaz should be given a whole lot of credit for gunning down Hunter Ham, as Evan S. Laxon was kind of caught in the pickle. He was able to get in front of the baseball and lunge and forward in front of it, as that one is ball and no strikes, as that one is one hops into the glove of Joyce, as that one didn't even reach home plate from Kettner. Drew Schmidt now at the dish, 0 for 1 with a pop out to short. So that one's an inside breaking ball for strike 1, 1-1. As we mentioned, no 1-2-3 inning has been had on either staff tonight for either Joyce or Tronson. As an arm begins to stretch in the Generals' pen. 1-1 is a swing and a miss for strike two. 2 balls, or 1 ball and 2 strikes here for Joyce. Generals, 1 run on 4 hits. No errors and 4 runners left on. Looking for a 1-2-3 inning, though, is Kettner. 1-2 to Schmidt. Outside half. Just a little far outside on the outside slider. Even count here for Schmidt. UT Tyler Patriot. Him and Connor Clark, teammates out in Tyler, Texas and East Texas. Both coming here to Victoria as second half signings. 2-2 is popped foul. Nearly could have been a chance to stay in the ballpark, but that one will get just beyond the party deck down the first base side. And it's 2-2 even. Still. As we mentioned, this lineup has no Anthony Avalos and no Cameron Nickens, both getting normal off days. Avalos is second of the week and Nickens his first of the month. 2-2. High fly ball to left. This once again goes foul, and that one will go foul in the exact opposite direction as the last. And it's 3 straight foul balls now for Schmidt. Even count, still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Generals, if they're able to hold on, will get a 7th consecutive victory and an 8th in their last 9. As the wind now slowly starting to pick up, blowing just softly from right to left, going outward. Be benefiting the right-handed hitter in this moment. The 2-2. He's low and in the dirt. And Schmidt, who was originally down this count, is now back ahead, and a payoff pitch now awaits him. Tronson at 61 pitches through 4 innings. Riley Kentner, who's on the mound for Seguin, at 65 pitches. Here comes pitch 66. And it's a high fly ball to center. Howard is there. He backs up a few steps, but he's underneath it. He waits for it. He'll make the catch. And the first 1-2-3 of the night comes from Seguin starter Riley Kettner as the West Texas A&M Buffalo retires 6-7-8 of Victoria's order in order. We're through 4 innings. Still a 1-0 contest. It has been a thrilling pitcher's duel, to say the least. Can Seguin break through offensively? Or can Hayden Tronson once again hold the door? We'll find out on the other side on TCL TV. Stay with us. Here in Victoria, wants to once again thank all of our sponsors watching Victoria Generals Baseball, Victoriata Group, Explore Victoria, Whataburger, Texas Roadhouse, Schreer Kubota Dealers, Edward Jones, Citizens Medical Center, and everyone else who supports the Victoria Generals in all their endeavors. As we now go to the top of the 5th inning, 1-0 is the scoreline in favor of Victoria. The 1 run coming off a sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 3rd by Riley Bender for his league-leading 24th run driven in of the summer. As we now go back to the top of the order, and Hayden Tronson will now try to get through Seguin's order for a 3rd time tonight, as he has in each of his last 3 starts against any opponent he's faced. He'll face Dakota Howard, who is grounded out to short both times. That's a line drive in a shallow center. This will drop in front of Damian Whitfield for a base hit. And it's a leadoff base runner, and it's 1 pitch, a runner on. As Howard reaches base for the first time tonight, he's 1 for 3. And more importantly in this series, Dakota Howard just claiming his fifth hit now in total of the series. Was 4 for 9 in this series coming into tonight. And now adding those stats on the fly, he is now 5 for 12 in this through 3 games of this 4-game set. So now Patrick McClellan come back to the dish, who is 0 for 2 on the night with a pop out and ground out. Shows bunt, pulls back. It's on the outside half of the zone for strike 1. McClellan popping out to second base in the first and grounding to Drew Schmidt at third base in the third for the second out of each respective inning. The hit from Howard, the 4th of the night for Seguin. Schmidt coming in, the 0-1, once again showing bunt as McClellan. But that one is just low and below the bat, so it'll be a 1-1 count. McClellan can go back to the bunt choice if he wants. He has a strike to work with. We saw a bunt strikeout, if you remember, in last night's contest. If you were watching, Dylan Flores went for 3 consecutive bunts and had 3 straight foul bunts, which resulted in a strikeout. So that's a pickoff throw by Tronson. That's just a little high, but Sanchez able to jump in front and make the play as he had to get off the first base bag. Tronson sitting at 63 pitches in 4+ innings. Still, the bullpen remains quiet. There was an arm stretching, but he has at least paused for now. 1-1's lined in the left center, and that will drop for a base hit down the left field line. Staying at second base is Howard, and now the top 2 hitters in Victoria's order have now at least reached base, and just like that, the Victoria Generals are once again in a pickle. As with nobody out, it is back-to-back singles here in the 5th. Xavier Perez, who is 2 for 2 on the night. And Jonathan Valdez is making his way to the bullpen, but we'll head back. We'll see if there's anyone who decides to start at least stretching right now, with Tronson dealing with 2 runners on and nobody out. Perez awaits his first pitch. Here it comes. It's a high fly ball to left. Going back on it is Connor Clark. He's going back to the warning track. He'll make the catch. Both runners will tag, though, as he was all the way back at the warning track. And both runners will tag with ease as Clark is able to make the catch for a big out number 1. But both Howard and McClellan advance 90 feet and is now 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out. Perez at least doing his job by getting a ball in the air, driving one far enough to get the runners to both tag. So Dakota Howard at third, McClellan at second for Adam Peavy, who is 0 for 2 on the night with a ground out and strikeout. Peavy in his debut last night, 1 for 4 with the run scored, trying to get his first RBI as a Seguin River Monster and in the TCL. First pitch from Johnson. Outside corner, called strike 1. Big strike 1 call that was on the border of that outside half. Johnson has gotten out of nearly every single jam he has been a part of. River Monsters now with more hits than Victoria tonight, 5-4. Even with Victoria leading in the scoreline. 0-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2 on the swerve ball, on the slider away. That Peavy went chasing. Mentioned Peavy's already been punched out tonight. Could be a big out number 2 if he is retired once again. Both corner infielders in near the infield grass. Middle infielders playing back deep. So a normal, straightforward shift here on Peavy, the Texas Lutheran right-hander. So that one is low on the 0-2 as he tried to make Peavy go baiting and go fishing once again. But he holds back as Laxon able to keep it in front for a ball and 2 strikes. Great defense behind the dish so far tonight by Laxon. Galco one cap. Tronson on that right side of the rubber. Both runners with a lead. Tronson's 1-2. Outside, and it gets away from Laxon, and we are tied. A wild pitch that gets off the inside thigh. That was too low from Tronson. And both runners advance 90 feet, and we are all squared at 1. 2-2 is the count now here on Peavy. As Dakota Howard, who led off this inning with a single, has now come across to score. McClellan now sits at third base, representing the go-ahead run for the River Monsters. with only one out on the board. Johnson still a strike away from punching out Peavy. A 2-2. Ryan driving to left, and that will be in left field for a base hit. Seguin takes the lead for the first time tonight as Adam Peavy drives in an RBI single, his first run driven in of the summer in just his second game, showing positive signs for Tony Perez with his second half signings. It's 2-1 Stars. And now it is a runner at first with still only one out. A double play does end the inning for Victoria as a positive note, as we now head things off to Ryder Hernandez, who is also 0 for 2 on the night. Both runners who singled to begin this inning have now both come across to score, as that one is low for ball 1 to Hernandez. Howard and McClellan both singling to begin this fifth inning and have now both come across to the plate. It's their first and second run of this series for each side, respectively, for each player, respectively. 2 balls and no strikes from Johnson. Right-hander now beginning to at least stretch in the bullpen, as well as Jonathan Valdez, which is an interesting signing considering the starter sitting outside the bullpen door. 2-0s on that inside half. 3 balls and no strikes. Now the arm will begin to throw. It appears to be a right-hander, as it looks like it could be potentially Parker Matthews possibly throwing in that Generals bullpen. 3-0. Inside half, no call, ball 4. So Aiden Johnson now allows his 3rd walk of the night in what has been a disastrous top half of the 5th inning. And now Insurance now sits in scoring position in the form of Adam Peavy, who drove in the go-ahead run. And Ryder Hernandez is now walked to first, so it's runners at first and second. There is still only one out on the board. And Xavier Arias, who is 0 for 1 with a hit by pitch back in the second, will now come up to the dish. Wide open hole in that right side of the infield, as there seems to be a slight shift on the Texas Lutheran right-handed hitter. First pitch is popped up on the infield. Johnson's under it, so is Laxon. He'll make the catch for a big out number 2. 1 pitch, 1 out, as Laxon is able to come through big time by getting a second out. And if you're Michael Oros, you would love to have Johnson at least try to muster through this 5th inning, trying to get out of it himself and not have to go to his bullpen before the inning ends. As Hunter Ham, who has reached base twice on a hit by pitch and walk, reaching as far as third base, going to try to now have his chance to drive in Insurance for Seguin. First pitch from Johnson. Low and just below the knees, ball 1. Stars in this series have not had a lead larger than 2 runs. Had a 4-2 lead after a second 2-run homer last night. Of course, Victoria would score 3 of the next 4 in regulation before we go to extras at 5-5. The 1-0. Grounded just foul. Even count here now for Ham. Ham, the 7th batter of this 5th inning. As Matthews continues to throw right now in the Generals' pen. And he looks like he'll probably be the next man up following Johnson in the 6th. Johnson has now thrown 76 pitches through 4 2/3, trying to complete 5 innings of work, as he has now blown the lead for Victoria. 1-1 to Ham upstairs. Johnson, who has had to deal with his bumps even in these last 3 starts where he's had 6 innings plus. His ERA was coming into tonight at 2.25, so we don't expect it to jump that much higher if he ends his outing right here, because Ham could very well be his last batter. 2-1 is inside, 3 balls and 1 strike. If Ham reaches base in what could be a bases loaded 2-out situation, with Joyce currently sits on deck wearing the catcher's pads on his legs, that may very well be the end of the night. Can Johnson get 1 more out and retire Ham and end this 5th inning as he now has to step off the mound. Sitting at second is Peavy, at first Hernandez. Peavy delivering the go-ahead RBI and his first run driven in as a stir. 3-1 to Ham. Swing and a foul tip into the glove. As Slaxon, or actually no, it came in and out of the glove. As Slaxon was able to keep it in front of him. And a payoff pitch awaits now for the Hill College Frenchman. Freshman, I should say. I think I said Frenchman. Paris Olympics are coming up. My apologies. So runners, it appears, will be given the sign to go following this payoff pitch. No surprise. You're with 2 outs. Peavy and Hernandez, 2 slower than average players given the opportunity to possibly run here. Payoff pitch to Ham. That one's fouled just off the inside part of the bat on his hands. And we'll do it again. Tronson now crossing 80 pitches. Matthews continuing to warm right now in the General's pen. So he could possibly be a long-distance reliever. But Tronson able to get through 5. Full count. 2 runners on. Seguin looking to extend the lead as they've scored both of their 2 runs here in this 5th inning. Payoff pitch is inside, ball 4. Tronson thought he had it on the inside slider. That was going to clutch the inside part of the zone. And that could be possibly his final batter. No sign that will it be yet. As it will now be bases loaded with 2 outs. The first bases loaded situation of the series for the Stars. With Adam Peavy at third, Ryder Hernandez at second, and Hunter Ham at first. 2 of those runners being walked on, those being Hernandez and Ham. Joyce, who's reached base twice tonight on a fielder's choice ground out and a walk. First pitch, inside, ball 1. This most likely will be the final batter of the night for Tronson, as Matthews now continues to fully throw. The 1-0. Inside again. Make that now 5 consecutive balls here thrown by Hayden. Nearing 85 pitches. It's been a difficult 5th inning. Michael Loros just wants 1 more out of him to end his night and leave the Generals at least with a 1-run deficit. Hayden's 2-0. Ran on the outside corner, but caught on that bottom part of the zone, strike 1. Joyce this summer, obviously, this is his first game of the month of July. Had 4 runs driven in the month of June and 6 runs scored. Can he collect his first of the month of July in his first game back? 2-1 to Joyce. Grounded just foul, and once again, Tronson will be a strike away from getting out of the jam. It was a wild pitch that scored Dakota Howard that tied this game at 1. And then Adam Peavy's RBI single gave Seguin their first lead of the night. Insurance sitting on the base paths. Hitters 4, 5, and 7 all on base in that order for Seguin. 2-2 from Tronson. Grounded just into fair territory. Schmidt is there. Will be a close blow at first, and it's there in time to end the inning. So Hayden Tronson gets the final out he needs as he goes 5 innings, but blows the lead as Seguin retakes it on a wild pitch, scoring a run and an RBI single from Seguin newcomer Adam Peavy. We're halfway home. River Monsters now in front, 2-1. So we go bottom 5 on TCL TV. Stay with us. says you are watching Victoria Generals Baseball exclusively on TCL TV as we begin the second half, thanks to a wild pitch scoring on a wild throw by Hayden Stronson, and then an RBI single from Seguin newcomer Adam Peavy to take the lead for the first time tonight for the River Monsters. It'll be 9-1-2 due up for Victoria here, bottom 5, with Mario Mendoza Jr. leading things off. First pitch is downstairs for ball 1. Riley Kettner remains on the mound for the Sturs. Arm at least beginning to throw in the Seguin bullpen. As Parker Matthews continues to throw in Victoria's pen. The 1-0. Inside, nearly hits Mendoza. He had to back off. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Mario tonight, 1 for 1 with a single, and was tagged out at the plate in a bases loaded, no out situation in the bottom of the third. That inning being where Victoria scored their only run on the sac fly from Riley Bender. 2-0. Inside, 3 balls, no strikes. Victoria has done such a good job this summer when they've taken early leads and then given them back up. They've been able to get back on their feet and let the best offense in this league, top to bottom, go to work in the late innings to get back games. That one's inside, ball 4. And a 4-pitch walk from Riley Kettner leads things off bottom 5, as Mendoza has now reached base twice tonight. Just the second time this summer where he's begun a ball game, reaching base in each of his first 2 plate appearances. And now Connor Clark, who is 1 for 2 with a single and scoring Victoria's only run, will come to the dish. Single and run scored, of course, happening in that 3rd inning. Seguin 2 runs on 6 hits, no errors, and have left 9 runners on base, including leaving the bases loaded earlier in the 5th, as that one has gotten behind, and it looks like it will be a foul ball. A foul ball that got to the backstop as Connor Clark was ducking out of the way as we flip over to the top of the order. But Victoria, dealing with an 0-1 count, could have been an opportunity for Mendoza to advance to second base, but because it hit the top part of Clark's bat as he ducked, it technically counts as a foul ball, even though he did not swing or complete a swinging motion. It's 0-1. Here it comes. That's fouled down the left field line on a proper string, and now Clark's down the count on 0 balls and 2 strikes. Two runs on 6 hits, no errors, 9 runners left on for the Sturs. For Victoria, 1 run on 4 hits, no errors, and 4 runners left on. Riley Kettner, center part of the rubber, his 0-2, just below the knees. Damian Whitfield sits on deck. He has had a spectacular series along with Clark versus these Sturs. Come through once again right here. For the 2nd consecutive game, Connor Clark has been hit in the helmet by Seguin pitching. As Connor Clark's head is probably going to need some concussion evaluation following this series. But he is, once again, just like last night when he was hit in the helmet, he's all good, as he has to shake that one off and hit him in the backside of the helmet. Tony Perez now will come out of the dugout. Could possibly be the end of the night for Riley Kettner, as there was an arm throwing in Seguin's bullpen. A walk and a hit by pitch beginning this bottom of the 5th inning, with the dangerous Damian Whitfield coming up. And that is the end of the night. Riley Kettner is done after 4+ innings, and a new man will come on the mound for a Sturs. They only brought 4 pitchers with them tonight. We'll see which one of the 3 they brought will be coming on the other side here on TCL TV. We'll be right back. banks of the Guadalupe River. We remain in the bottom of the fifth inning. Two runners are on in the form of Mario Mendoza and Connor Clark. And the new man on the mound is Gabriel Rodriguez, the second Alvin Community College Dolphin of the night. And more importantly, Gabriel Rodriguez, who is typically a catcher for Tony Perez's squad, of the Brookshire, Texas native, at 6 foot 185, is back on the mound for the second time this summer. His only other appearance this summer coming back on June 15th, which, if you're a highly touted Victoria Generals fan, that was the night Victoria beat Seguin 7-6 in a Saturday night contest, which resulted in a Jacob Sanchez walk-off when the Generals were trailing 6-5 with 2 strikes and a full count pitch, awaiting with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. They had the bases loaded. Rodriguez nearly completing what was then an 9-out save. Completed 8 of those 9 outs, gave up 2 runs to make it a 6-5 game, and Sanchez able to walk it off with a 2-run RBI single against Rodriguez to win it in the bottom of the ninth. So this is the first time that Rodriguez has been on the mound since. At the plate as a catcher in 13 games, Rodriguez is 9 for 28, a .321 batting average with 2 runs scored, 4 RBIs, 8 walks, and 10 punch-outs, including a stolen base on this summer for Rodriguez. But the two-way player is now back on the mound for a second time this summer, and will do so once again against these Victoria Generals, this time in a 5th inning situation, replacing Riley Kettner, who went 4+ innings in his start. Mario Mendoza Jr., who walked to lead off the 5th, sits at second. Connor Clark, who was hit by a pitch in the helmet for the 2nd straight day, is at first. First pitch from Rodriguez. Showing bunt is Whitfield. He pulls back, ball 1. Damian tonight, 1 for 2, with a single back in the 3rd, got all the way to 3rd base but couldn't score. Mendoza sitting at 2nd base, representing as the tying run for Victoria. For a batter like Whitfield, who is not known for producing runs, known for creating them. 1-0. Whitfield again shows bunt, but again the ball is low below the zone. He pulls back, 2 balls and no strikes. Exact part of the order that you want at the plate if you're Michael Oros, who sits at 3rd base wearing the red pullover on your screen. 2-0 is just below the zone. 3 balls and no strikes. Whitfield is in a great series against these Stars. We mentioned his 2 for 4 night last night with 5 stolen bases. Just 1 shy of his single game record for stolen bases in a game, which was set earlier this season with 6, as Whitfield now fouls this one off. And it is going to be, I believe, 3 balls and a strike. The scoreboard here at Riverside Stadium says 2-2 is the count. I believe the count is 3-1. See if the home plate umpire decides to maybe correct things here. No, he is correct. The scoreboard operator is correct. I am incorrect. It is a 2-2 count here for Whitfield. Mendoza at 2nd, Clark at 1st. With nobody out here, bottom 5. Rodriguez deals, and that is on the outside corner, called strike 3. The two-way catcher retires Damian Whitfield with an outside backdoor breaking ball. Whitfield frustrated with the call, and it's a massive out number 1 for the Stars. So Whitfield is called looking for out number 1, and Travis Bragg will return to the dish, who has reached base twice in each of his 2 plate appearances. Singled in the 1st, grounded into a fielder's choice back in the 3rd. Victoria with no hits in this inning, hit by pitch and walk so far. First pitch to Bragg. Runners are going. That's going to be called upstairs for ball 1. It's close at 3rd, not in time. Double steal for Mario Mendoza Jr. and Connor Clark, as they steal 2nd and 3rd respectively, advance 90 feet, and now sit in scoring position, representing as the tying and go-ahead runs for the Generals. It was a called strike one, apparently, from the home plate umpire in sight for Bragg. So Bragg sits down in the count. But now with just one out, has two runners in scoring position to deal with. A sac fly would be in play if he's able to get one in the air. For Mario, this summer when it comes to his stolen base ledger, it is his second of the summer. Bragg fouls this one down the left field line for strike two. As for Clark, he continues to rack up stolen bags. And what is just his 9th game of the summer, it's his 5th of the young summer and his 4th of this series. Bragg, as we mentioned, 7 runs driven in his last 8 games. All of which split 7 times in those 8 games. One time he did not drive in a runner was this past Saturday. 0-2. Foul once again down the left field line. That one is perfectly placed in Victoria's bullpen, where Parker Matthews still remains warming, in which he looks like he will be the one to replace Hayden Johnson after 5 innings of work. Is at third and second in the form of Mendoza and Clark. Infield all in for Seguin. 0-2. High fly ball to left. This one could stay fair, and it's just hooked foul. As Bragg nearly had a chance to possibly place one right down the right field line that could have scored one or even possibly both runners. But it remains 0-2. Travis going aggressively here in this plate appearance. Left fielder Xavier Perez was going after it. It just rolled, just foul. It just landed, just foul, just left to the white chalk. Bragg get one into the outfield or get one in the air to tie the game. 0-2 is a slider that was way outside. Trying to go once again with the backdoor breaking ball, but not being fooled is Bragg on the bait. It's a ball and 2 strikes. If he's able to reach base, Riley Bender, who has the 1 RBI tonight, sits on deck. 1-2. Line drive of the middle that will get into center field for a base hit. Mendoza scores. Rounding third and coming home is Clark. Victoria seizes the lead back. It's 3-2. A 2-run RBI single for Travis Bragg. The future Texas State Bobcat again delivering in the biggest moments. Oh yeah, indeed, as the speakers say here at Riverside Stadium. And a massive 2 RBI single that flips the scoreline in favor of the home side. For Bragg, it is his 14th and 15th runs driven in of the summer. And Riley Bender will now come to the dish. A double play does end the inning for Seguin. They will end it here. But 2 runs scoring in the top half of the 5th are immediately responded by 2 in the bottom half. First pitch to Bender is low for ball 1. Bender 0 for 1 with that sacrifice fly that scored Victoria's first run back in the 3rd. Now his hit to right. Also is grounded out tonight has Riley. One out. Outside corner called strike 1. Scoring update across the TCL. We have a significant scoring update to bring you as the contest between Lake Charles and Acadiana and West Lafayette continues to get heated. King Cutters now sit down 1. It is 5-4. Gumbo Gators scored the next 4 runs unanswered, and now the King Cutters are battling back into the game. It is a thrilling one right now in Youngsville, Louisiana. That game currently remains in the bottom of the 5th inning, so both contests here in the TCL both sit in the exact same place. As Bender still sits at a 1-1 count with Travis Bragg, who drove in the tying and go-ahead run, sitting at first base. Rodriguez is 1-1. Grounded over to the 3rd short hole. On to second for 1. There will be no double play chance, as it is an innocent fielder's choice ground out as Bragg is retired at second base. Bender grounds into the fielder's choice. Grounding into a fielder's choice for the 2nd time tonight. As Bragg is retired on the simple 5-4 fielder's choice. And it'll be 2 outs now here in the 5th, with Jacob Sanchez coming to the dish. This must be some kind of a reunion. Sanchez, who got the last laugh against Rodriguez nearly a month ago, and a walk-off victory for Victoria, now facing the same man again in the same venue. His first pitch, way outside, ball 1. Probably the jitters coming from Rodriguez right now, as the memories now are probably coming back from that night on June 15th. He had just one more strike to get to win it for the River Monsters, but Jacob Sanchez ended the night in positive favor for the men in red and blue. 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Sanchez tonight, on the other hand, 0 for 2 with a line out to short and a ground out to short. The second and third, respectively. Travis Bragg replaced by Riley Bender at first base on his fielder's choice ground out. The 1-1. High fly ball down the line and left, but it will go way foul beyond the stands, as that one will leave the ballpark, and it's 1-2. A strike away from ending the inning is Rodriguez. Couple arms are stretching right now in Seguin's pen, but nothing to do, at least for right now, as Parker Matthews now has exited the bullpen and has gone back to the dugout. He expects to possibly step on the mound once this inning comes to a conclusion. One-two to Sanchez. High fly ball foul to the parking lot. For a recap, if you're rejoining us, Victoria retaking the lead on a 2 RBI single from Travis Bragg, who had runners at second and third with 1 away, and drove in both runners on an RBI single, collecting his 14th and 15th runs driven in of the summer. Give Victoria back their 1-run lead. 2 runs top half, 2 runs bottom half. And now Bender is caught in a pickle between first and second. He'll go to second outright. Will be a close play. He's safe at second base. Again for the second straight night. Victoria with base running magic, as Riley Bender dodges the tag of Patrick McClellan at second base, and head coach Tony Perez is flabbergasted. Perez cannot believe that this is happening for a second straight night. He almost was certain that Bender was going to be caught in a pickle between first and second base. But now he sits at second thinking he stole second. For Bender, if he is ruled safe, it will just be his second stolen base of the summer. And it looks like there will possibly be no review. Perez having a long conversation here with the bases umpire, who made the call, who was right. He was standing exactly at second base when he made the call. It made it clear that Bender's foot dodged the tag of McClellan, even though it looked like McClellan had gotten the ball in his glove about half a second prior to Bender arriving at the bag. But it remains a 1-2 count here for Sanchez. And Riley Bender now sits in second base on the stolen bag and represents insurance for Sanchez if he can deliver. Rodriguez is 1-2. Inside, nearly hits Sanchez on the slider that couldn't break back into the zone. It's an even count, 2-2. Sanchez coming into tonight with 15 runners driven in, sitting in the top 10 in the league in the category. 2-2. Fouled back to the screen. Sanchez, the San Juan, Texas native out of UTRGV, who has had success against Gabriel Rodriguez already this season with the walk-off 2-run single that won it for Victoria back on June 15th. And now here we are on July 18th with Sanchez in a certainly not similar situation, but a chance to drive in runs. The 2-2. Grounded just fouled down the third base line. We sit still at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sanchez, coming off of 3 great seasons at UTRGV, redshirted what was going to be his senior season. And will now have 1 more year of eligibility in Laredo, where him and Damian Whitfield will be teammates next season. Rodriguez set with a 2-2 again. Here it comes. On the outside corner, no call as that one's too far and low. Seguin still got frustrated with the call, and the payoff pitch awaits here for Sancho. If he's able to reach base, Evan S. Laxon sits on deck. Bender sitting at second base. We ground into a fielder's choice. Looking to possibly score here and represent insurance for Victoria. Payoff to Sanchez. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Rodriguez gets revenge against Sanchez from a month ago. But the damage has been done on a 2 RBI single by Travis Bragg, scoring his 15th and 15th runs driven in of the summer. We're through 5. Victoria gets back their 1-run lead. And Parker Matthews on the mound. We'll give you his backstory when we come back here on TCL TV. Here from the banks of the Guadalupe River. Those are the standings as we currently sit right now across the TCL, with the Bombers and Generals separating themselves from the rest of the pack here in the second half, a combined 21-6 second half record. And Seguin, of course, sitting at the bottom of the barrel. We go to the 6th inning, and a new man on the mound for your Victoria Generals. It is Parker Matthews. 0-0 with a 9.69 ERA in 6 appearances, 13 innings pitched, 12 hits, 16 walks, 17 punch-outs for Matthews, the current Humble native and current Abilene Christian Wildcat, the true freshman, standing in a massive 6'5", 182. And Matthews coming off of a spring where he threw in 11 appearances and a similar 9.26 ERA and 11 2/3 innings of work. So already he has eclipsed the amount of time he got on the mound this past spring, and Abilene here this summer has only faced the Seguin River Monsters once, that being in that 7-6 walk-on win in June 15th, where he gave up 4 runs, 2 of which were earned in 2 innings, giving up 2 hits, 2 walks, and 3 punch-outs against what was a very different-looking Seguin River Monster roster. As the first pitch he throws is upstairs for ball 1. For the River Monsters, it will be 9-1-2 due up. Colin Correjo, Dakota Howard, and Patrick McClellan due up for the Stars here in the 6th. Matthews' second pitch is once again outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Colin Correjo 1 for 2 on the night with a single back in the 4th. That one is just on the outside half for called strike 1 from Matthews. Matthews, the Humble native, graduate of Atascocita High, where he lettered in baseball, was a member of the National Honor Society. So that one's upstairs, 3 balls and a strike outside. He was an All-District Utility Player of the Year in 2022, his senior season. led Atascocita to a district title in 2021, his junior year. 3-1. Swing and a miss, strike two. November 4th is his birthday. Parents are Ray and Eric Matthews, currently majoring in business at ACU. Enjoys hunting, fishing, playing guitar, and golf. The payoff. Upstairs and away, ball four. Struggling Knight to find the zone for Victoria Arms, as it is a leadoff base runner on a free pass given to Colin Correjo. Another arm currently throwing in the Seguin or in the Victoria bullpen. It appears to be Hal Perez, who looks to be getting in some throws. Correjo leads things off with a walk, and we go back to the top of the order in form of the Dakota Howard, who is 1 for 3 as that one's inside. It hit off his bat. We'll see if Howard says that was hit by a pitch, and it looks like he was. Howard aggressively flipping the bat back to his dugout. Clearly angry with it, and it looks like that will be the call. So it is a hit by pitch. And it will be a 5-pitch walk followed by a hit by pitch. A disastrous start for Matthews, who has had to deal with a whole lot of traffic this summer. And Correjo and Howard quickly reaching base. Howard for the second straight plate appearance now. Singled and scored back in the 5th on a wild pitch for Seguin's first of their 2 runs. Now Patrick McClellan, who scored what was then the go-ahead run for the Stars, comes back to the dish. He's 1 for 3 with a single as well and a run scored. This is the heart of the River Monsters order that Matthews will have to get through. Still nobody out here in the 6th. Similar situation to what Tronson had to deal with in the 5th, as that one is way above the zone. Aslaxon says he calls for it, and he calls for a dead ball as the ball is stuck above the netting or above the fencing for Aslaxon. But now the tying run sits 90 feet away, and the go-ahead run sits at second base in scoring position as Correjo and Howard both advance 90 feet on the second wild pitch allowed of the night by Victoria pitching. Second straight inning where we've seen a wild pitch. And now head coach Tony Perez is once again out. It looks like we're judging the call. 1 ball, no strikes, by the way, is the count here on McClellan. Of course, that counting on the wild pitch. I think Perez was checking the ruling to see if the runner could possibly come home on the ball being stuck in the fence, but he's quickly shoved aside for that ruling. Infield is in, 1-0. High pop-up. Aslaxon going back on it. This could stay in the ballpark, but it will not. That one may have hit the roof, but that one will stay in the ballpark and looks like it can go on the main concourse. It's 1 ball and 1 strike here for McClellan. McClellan School. If you're just joining us for the first time, he's a San Diego native out of Palomar College, 36 miles north of the city of San Diego. McClellan, one of just 3 California natives in the TCL this summer. Standing at 6'1", 190, the sophomore. 1-1. Upstairs and once again gets away, and we are tied at 3. Second straight time tonight where Victoria has given up a wild pitch that brings in a run. It's the second of the inning for Matthews. And the go-ahead run now sits 90 feet away in the form of Dakota Howard. It's 3-3. 2 balls and a strike now the count here on McClellan. The most important factor is that a game-tying run has scored in the form of Kellen Correjo, who has now advanced to third and home on wild pitches. Howard advancing to second and third on those same pitches. 2-1, again getting away from Aslaxon, but he stays in front of it barely, getting a bare hand on the baseball, and it is 3 balls and 1 strike to count for McClellan. And an arm looks like he is now beginning to throw, a right-hander in Victoria's bullpen. Matthews already running now on a short leash. Infield remains in for the Generals. Plays at home. 3-1 is fouled back, and a payoff pitch awaits. River Monsters have shown so much fight in this series. They know that they need as many wins as possible because every single loss puts that elimination of postseason contention number closer and closer in front and in the spotlight. The payoff. Line drive to right center. Going after it is Whitfield. This could possibly split the gap, and it does. Rolls all the way to the wall. This game is now once again in the favor of the Sturs, but now heading to third base is McClellan, who's showing the stop sign. A go-ahead RBI triple from Patrick McClellan, the San Diego native, putting the Sturs on his back, and once again back in front. 3 consecutive half innings with 2 runs. It's 4-3. A back-and-forth grudge match we have here at Riverside Stadium. Both sides exchanging right hooks. So now the board is clean, as now Xavier Perez, the former Victoria General, again comes back to the dish, who is already 2 for 3 on the night. First pitch inside, breaking ball, strike 1. Still nobody out, by the way, here in this 6th inning. The infield remaining playing in. It's Correjo and Howard, who reached on a walk and hit by pitch, have both now come around to score. Perez now in an even count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Perez has doubled and singled tonight, also has a stolen base on his ledger, hasn't reached farther than second base. Looks to provide insurance right here. The 1-1 is fouled. To the parking lot, ball and 2 strikes. 2 runs, top 5 to give Seguin a 3-2 lead, or to give Seguin what was then a 2-1 lead. Then Victoria responding quickly with a 2 RBI single from Travis Bragg to get back in front 3-2. And now a wild pitch and an RBI triple have given Seguin back the lead 4-3. 1-2. Grounded just foul off the end of the bat. We'll do it again. A back-and-forth contest here at Riverside after the Sturs lose 2 close ones on their home ballpark. Now in front of a raucous Riverside Stadium. Now once again have silenced the crowd. They now have 4 runs on 7 hits. Still no errors on the board. They've left so far 9 runners on base already tonight. Whole lot of traffic. 1-2's grounded, just foul, as the third baseman Drew Schmidt had a glove on it, but ruled foul by the home plate umpire. It remains 1-2. Arm appearing to throw in the bullpen right now is Julio Garcia. He looks to be at least getting in some throws now, with Matthews yet to record a single out. Can he get at least one here, possibly on the punch out to get at least an out number 1? As he gets through this heart of the order. 1-2. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did. The pitch gets away as Aslaxon has to now throw to first base for out number 1 on the drop third strike. Great awareness on the part of Evan Aslaxon as he's able to gun down Perez. As it's a drop third strike, staying at third base is Adam Peavy. Or it's not Adam Peavy. Adam Peavy is now coming to the dish. McClellan's the one who remains at first base. He was the one with the RBI triple that gave Seguin the lead. But a big strikeout for out number 1 here for Matthews. Now with 1 out comes Adam Peavy, who was the deliverer of the then go-ahead RBI back in the 5th. First pitch. Outside corner, called strike 1. Generals have only fallen once to the Sturs all summer, after being on the road at Smokey Joe Williams earlier this season, back in June. Undefeated against the Sturs here in this ballpark, as that one's upstairs and called strike 2. Matthews might be getting back into a rhythm here. Ahead 0-2 against Peavy. Ryder Hernandez sitting on deck, trying to get a big out number 2. Insurance sitting 90 feet away. The 0-2. Check swing. Did he go around? No, he did not, says the home plate umpire. Will be close, and he did go around. Strike 3. Bases umpire says a different saying, and he rules out Adam Peavy, who's screaming at the bases umpire. And it is a massive out number 2. Back-to-back punch-outs for Matthews. What a bounce back for the Abilene Christian Wildcat, who gives up the lead here in the 6th, but collects 2 massive punch-outs. And now Perez, now screaming at the home plate umpire. His temper may need to come back if he wants to remain in this ball game. And now Ryder Hernandez now comes to the dish. It's 0-2 with a walk. He's 0-2 with a walk. Seguin still having insurance, sitting 90 feet away in the form of the RBI triple by McClellan. First pitch, strike one to Hernandez. Bullpen has now quieted down as Julio Garcia has stopped throwing in the Gens bullpen as Matthews has gotten his act together. Can he finish the deal, though? 0-1. Line drive to right. Going up over is Bragg. He'll make the catch as Diego Diaz actually is able to make the catch to end the inning. Well, the River Monsters are able to get back in front, but their lead is only one as they leave a runner stranded at third with nobody out. We'll go bottom six. River Monsters back in front 4-3. Back for bottom six on the other side.
Faster, stronger, get harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger, more than ever, hour after hour, work is never over, work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger, more than ever, hour after hour, work is never over, work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger, more than ever, hour after hour, work is never stronger.
This song implies both sides have been throwing haymakers as we show you the upcoming promotions at Riverside Stadium. Free ticket night tomorrow night presented by our friends at Atzenhofer for Game 4 of the series between the Bombers and between the Generals and River Monsters. And then Strikeout Cancer Night with pink jerseys presented by our friends at Citizens Medical Center and TISD.net is coming Saturday, July 27th for the penultimate regular season game of the summer. Bottom six we now head. Seguin back in front now, 4-3. We have had a combined 6 runs on both sides in just the last inning and a half of play. As 6-7-8 is due up for Victoria, and Evan S. Laxon leads things off for the first full inning of relief work for normal catcher Gabriel Rodriguez, as that one gets all the way to the backstop, a ball, no strikes. Laxon tonight 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts to center. That one is also low, 2 balls, no strikes. Scoring update across the league, currently in Southern Lafayette and Youngsville, Louisiana at Fabacher Field. Bottom of the 6th now between Lake Charles and Acadiana, and the Gumbo Gators still have a narrow 1-run lead, 5-4. That's grounded over to the third base. I guess Laxon will be able to reach first. That's a wide throw by the third baseman, Ham. Coming to second base as Laxon, he'll stay there. That tying run for Victoria, quickly in scoring position on just 3 pitches, as Laxon able to reach second base on the E5 by Hunter Ham. So it is an E5 that results, if you're scoring at home, the error permitted by Hunter Ham. That results in Evan S. Laxon reaching all the way into scoring position at second base. The first error of the night by either side. And now Diego Diaz now comes to the dish. Diaz, so far tonight, 0 for 1 with the ground out to first back in the 4th. Also walked back in the 2nd to Diaz. 5 for 27 in the month of July coming into tonight. It's been one of the more reliable signings in the field for the UTSA Roadrunner for Michael LaRosa's guys. Infield coming in specifically at the corners. First pitch, Diaz shows bunt, pulls back. It's called strike 1. Generals looking to once again throw another haymaker in this one. After going down by 1, they seized back the lead and now have lost it again. Can they respond once again as they near the bottom of the order? A one from Rodriguez. Upstairs, Diaz didn't decide to go with the bunt game plan. That one was above the letters. 1 ball, 1 strike here for Diego. Vanessa Laxon sitting at second base after he grounded one deep in the third base hole. That was a wide throw by Hunter Ham that was over the head of first baseman Adam Peavy. Now sitting at second base is Laxon. Rodriguez is 1-1. Great breaking ball called for strike 2. That was spinning for days and fell from one year to the other. Right down Main Street for strike 2. Only 30 pitches already for Rodriguez. 1-2 to Diaz. Another breaking ball, but it's a pop fly in a shallow center. Going after it's the second baseman, McClellan. He'll make the catch. And it's a big out number 1 here for the Sturs. Staying at second base is Laxon. Now coming back to the dish is Drew Schmidt, who's 0 for 2 with the pop out and fly out. Seguin tonight, 4 runs on 7 hits, no errors. We've left 10 runners on base. Victoria, also 1 error. I should say 1 error for Seguin. Victoria, 3 runs on 5 hits so far. As that one gets away, another wild pitch on the night for Seguin as that one gets away from Whit Joyce. As the first ball of the night thrown to Drew Schmidt, as Schmidt can now at least watch that one fly behind him. But with that, Laxon advances to third on the wild pitch. Got even on base because of an error. And now another defensive miscue for Seguin as the tying run for Victoria sitting 90 feet away for Schmidt. Can Drew come through right here? That's a swing and a foul tip. I believe he swung. And he did. It's an even count on a strike here for the UT Tyler Patriot. Schmidt only 1 RBI in 7 games played so far this summer. Now in game number 8, can he drive in a second run? Infield coming in here for Seguin, no surprise. 1-1. Way outside on the breaking ball, 2 balls and a strike from Rodriguez. Lost control of the breaking ball, the 12-6 curve. As Laxon sitting 90 feet away. Schmidt representing as the go-ahead run for Victoria at the plate. Bottom of the order, and Mario Mendoza Jr. sits on deck. 2-1. Just below at the knees, but called for strike 2. Riverside Stadium crowd furious. And a packed one indeed on this thirsty Thursday. 2 balls and 2 strikes for Schmidt, who is 0 for 2. Can he come through for the first time in this series? Rodriguez is 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Big out number 2 for Rodriguez and the Sturs. And as Laxon remains at third base, 2 away. So Mario Mendoza now comes to the dish, who has reached base twice on a single back in the second, and a walk, a stolen base, and came around to score in the 5th. Rodriguez on the far side of the rubber, trying to shut the door after the disastrous start to the inning. First pitch is grounded to the shortstop hole. There is Hernandez. Long throw to first. That one is also wide. We are tied. On to second base is Mendoza. He is safe. The second infield error of the inning for the River Monsters. And we are all squared at 4. As Mendoza will not get credit most likely for the RBI. But he will not care about it at all, as we are now squared at 4. And that is the most important thing that matters. He now advances on what is going to be ruled as most likely as an E6. For those of you scoring at home, as Laxon is able to score on that E6. There's the second error of this 6th inning. Now he sits at second base, representing as the go-ahead run. Connor Clark is now at the dish, as we have flipped over the order. Clark has reached base twice, and has scored twice. Rodriguez has to step off the mound and is intimidated by Mendoza at second base. The tying run now scoring because of an error. An unearned run for Rodriguez. Go ahead run in scoring position. First pitch to Clark. Outside for ball one. We have seen a combined 7 runs in these last 4 half innings of play that have now moved us to a game that was basically unscheduled and now sitting at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour here in bottom 6. 1-0 to Clark. High fly ball that's going foul. Third baseman Ham's going after it, but that will just go beyond the fence and just get beyond into the bleacher seats down the left field line. Kids going after to chase it. 1 ball and 1 strike for Connor. Connor grounding out in the first, singling and scoring in the third, and then scoring the go-ahead run in the 5th when he was hit by a pitch, stole second base, and came around to score on the 2 RBI single by Travis Bragg, who sits in the hole right now. And Clark come through, wide open hole in the right side of the infield to give the Generals back a 1-run lead. Rodriguez is 1-1. Outside half, no swing, 2 balls and a strike. Back and forth contest it has been. What a thrilling series. A 3-2 winner for Victoria on Tuesday. A nearly 4-hour extra innings classic on Wednesday. And now another, what appears to be classic on this Thursday. 2-1. Outside half, no call, 3 balls and 1 strike. Damian Whitfield sits on deck for Victoria, who's 1 for 3 tonight with a single. Connor Clark come through here. The shift is slightly being played on the UT Tyler Patriot. Looks like to continue to throw in the Victoria bullpen. That could be Julio Garcia. Rodriguez is 3-1. Outside, ball 4. So Clark will walk 90 feet. There is now a play at nearly every base, as Clark will just represent as an extra base runner. That would be insurance if Victoria took the lead. But with 2 outs comes Damian Whitfield, as he will have another chance to drive in a runner. It will be his 3rd time tonight coming to the dish with a runner in scoring position. Clark has now reached base in each of his last 3 plate appearances, as he continues to have a stellar reaching on base series against the Stars. Whitfield 1 for 3 with a single back in the 3rd. Only 11 runs driven in this summer. First pitch. At the letters, upstairs, ball 1. Heart of the Victoria order is where we sit now. Seguin with 4 runs on 7 hits and 2 errors. Well, 10 runners on. Victoria 4 runs on 5 hits. No errors, and have left 5 runners on. Could possibly leave 2 more if they can't get a run to score. Runners think about advancing, but that one's just outside. With Joyce trying to position it well for the home plate umpire. But it is now 4 consecutive balls now thrown by Rodriguez, and it's 2-0. Travis Bragg, who has 2 RBIs already tonight, sits on deck. Whitfield come through. A slight shift is played onto the right side, and a hole on that left side of the infield. Whitfield collecting his 30th hit of the summer tonight. 2-0 is grounded just foul. Down the right field line, 2-1. Crowd has been on the edge of their seat for much of this Thursday night on both sides. A couple of Seguin fans have made the trip, the hour-and-a-half trip southwest. The distance between these two and the distance between Acadian and Baton Rouge, the closest distance between 2 franchises in the TCL, separated by just about 130 miles. 2-1 to Whitfield. Great breaking ball for strike 2 on the slider that just sat at the letters. Damian knew exactly that it was coming, and he kind of fist bumps to his dugout. Strike away from getting out of the gym is Rodriguez. You've seen at least 2 runs. Top 5, bottom 5, top 6, and now here we are, bottom 6. Victoria continue the trend and retake the lead again. 2-2 is inside, and that one hit Damian. It hits him on the right knee, and he is down. Whitfield is going to have to shake it off. He's not expressing any major amounts of pain. It is now a bases-loaded situation with 2 away, as Whitfield remains sitting on the ground as the trainer now comes out, as so does head coach Michael Oros. And Whitfield going to try to give up on both hands as the inside fastball came in from Rodriguez. Whitfield's going to try to shake it off. If this possibly lingers, this could possibly result in maybe an off day possibly for Damian tomorrow. Whitfield is going to stay on his feet, and he's walking on his own power to first base. So it is now Mendoza at third, who reached base on the error that drove in the game's tying run. Clark, who walked, now sits at second base. And Damian Whitfield has now been hit by a pitch and now sits at first. Is the second hit by pitch of the night for the Victoria Generals that they have been hit by. And now Travis Bragg, who has already a 2 RBI single on the night tonight, is 2 for 2, or 2 for 3, I should say, and has reached base all 3 times. Gonna get a chance here to once again hand the Generals the lead. Now with 15 runs driven in on the summer. First pitch. Outside slider, strike 1. Bragg now tonight has now 9 RBIs in his last 9 games, nearly averaging exactly an RBI a game during that stretch, going back to late June. He's been spectacular for Victoria since returning from vacation last week. 0-1. Outside and low, great block by Joyce, ball and a strike. Rodriguez has already thrown a wild pitch since coming into this game. End up leading to Evan Slaxon coming around to score later on. Mendoza Jr. at third, Clark at second, Whitfield at first, 9-1-2 in that order. 1-1. High fly ball to left. Xavier Perez is underneath it. So is the shortstop Hernandez, but Perez makes the catch to end the side. Victoria strands the bases loaded with a chance to retake the lead, but they just tie the game for now. Parker Matthews is coming back on the mound for the 7th inning. Will he possibly avenge himself from what was a disastrous 6th? We'll find out on the other side here on TCL TV. You're going to want to stick around for this one, folks. On the banks of the Guadalupe River, this is the upcoming schedule for your Victoria Generals. The final 2 games against Seguin tonight and tomorrow, on the road at Baton Rouge this weekend, and then the gauntlet of 7 in a row at Lake Charles Monday, home for Baton Rouge Tuesday, Wednesday, and then 4 straight against Brazos Valley, the first 2 in College Station, and then here in Riverside to end the regular season, a total of 12 consecutive days of baseball to end the regular year. As now Hal Perez is now coming to this game to catch, as Evan Aslaxon has now been removed out of this game. It appears, at least. And yeah, it is. I wanted to double check there, and it is. Evan Aslaxon is now out of this game and has been replaced by Hal Perez. As it is now a ball and no strikes here to Ryder Hernandez, who leads things off. Or actually, no, it's not Ryder Hernandez, I should say. It is Xavier Arias, as he is now sitting in an even count, of ball and a strike. 1-1. High pop-up foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes here against Matthews. Matthews, who was able to get out of what was a dangerous top of the 6th inning, struck out back-to-back batters to end top 6, and then was able to get out of the jam to end the inning as Ryder Hernandez line drives it to right, but that will be a line drive single to lead things off here in the 7th, as Arias reaches base for the 2nd time tonight on the 1-2 pitch and is able to do so and perform a leadoff base runner for the Stars here, top 7. 3rd consecutive inning where the Stars have gotten the leadoff man on. So Hunter Ham will now come back to the dish. Ham has a defensive error tonight, but has reached base 3 times on a hit by pitch and 2 walks. Has gotten as far as 3rd base, has not come around to score. First pitch from Matthews to Perez is way outside for ball 1. Slaxon just sitting in the dugout right now. His night has come to an end. Appears to at least be okay, so it doesn't appear to be possibly injury concerns. We'll see. Michael Oros decides to say post-game why he decided to sub Aslaxon here in the 7th with 3 innings left to work with, and possibly more depending on what this score line will be going forward. With a runner on and nobody out, it's a 1-1 count here for Ham, the Hill College freshman. One. Outside corner, perfect placement, called strike 2 on the fastball away by Matthews. Scoring update from Lafayette. We are all squared at 5 between the Gumbo Gators and Cane Cutters. A thrilling contest in that one as well. 2 tie ball games across the TCL. That one's bottom 7. We are top 7. That's a swing and a miss into the glove, foul tip for strike 3. Matthews, his 3rd punch out in his last 5 batters faced. But a massive out number 1. Double play ends the inning now for Victoria. 1 away in the 7th. As now we go back to Wint Joyce. The backstop for Seguin tonight, who has reached base twice on a fielder's choice ground out and a walk. Also grounded out back in the 5th to end the 5th inning. First pitch to Matthews from Matthews is just at the knees for strike 1. Perfect opportunity for Matthews to get through 2 innings of relief and hold off Michael Oros' bullpen for another inning. As he faces the bottom of the order, 0-1, at the knees again, strike 2. Matthews already with 3 punch outs after, what was he then blowing the lead? A 3-2 lead that Victoria had to make it 4-3, but then immediately responded by getting out of a jam where he had a runner at 3rd with nobody out. 0-2. Line drive in a left. That one will fall in front of Connor Clark for a base hit. But now staying at 2nd base is Xavier Arias. It is 2 singles sandwiched around the strikeout. And it's 2 runners on now with 1 away for the 9-hole hitter in Colin Correjo. Matthews again will once again have to bounce around traffic, as the bullpen currently remains quiet for now. Could be starting to work up once again soon. Julio Garcia was warming earlier tonight. We could possibly be seeing him, though, later. First pitch to Correjo. Matthews digs it low in the dirt, ball 1. Arias at 2nd. Joyce at 1st, both singling. Sandwiched around the strikeout of Hunter Ham. That one is on the inside corner, strike 1. Seguin now with 8 hits tonight. Actually, no, 9 hits, I should say. 9 hits tonight. 4 runs on 9 hits with 2 errors, and have left 10 runners on base as Correjo flies this one into shallow left center. 3 runners calling it on, and then that one innocently falls, but is going to result in an easy out at third base, as it's going to be technically a fielder's choice, as sitting out at third is going to be Xavier Arias. He will be out number 2, but what could have been an easy pop fly results in what's possibly going to be rolled as a fielder's choice. It will be. We hardly necessarily call that an error. I mean, it obviously is an error, but it flew in between the Bermuda Triangle, so you can't really pin the error on anybody. So it remains first and second. This time it will be Joyce at second and Correjo at first. As Correjo technically hits into the fielder's choice, with Arias being out on the 6-5 throw from Riley Bender, who was amongst that Bermuda Triangle. Just let the ball innocently fall, and Drew Schmidt making the routine tag for out number 2. So now we go top of the order with Dakota Howard. Now comes back to the dish. Howard has scored twice tonight and has reached base twice. A single and hit by pitch in the 5th and 6th respectively. This is his 3rd straight inning at the plate. First pitch is fouled back, as that one hits the mask of Hal Perez at strike 1. Matthews still a chance to get out of this inning with no damage, as even with the defensive miscue in left center, the runners were not able to advance successfully, with Arias being tagged down at third. Out at any base. 0-1. Inside, but it gets away from Perez, as that one's going to be ruled as a pass ball. And both runners now advance, so the go-ahead run now sits 90 feet away again for Seguin, in the form of Whit Joyce. Insurance at second base in the form of Colin Correjo, 1-1. First pass ball of the night by either side. Matthews is once again going to try to get out of this jam, as we just passed the 9:45 hour here in the Central Time Zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here it comes from Matthews. Line drive to center. Can it stay above for Whitfield? It does. That is out number 3, and the inning is over. Whitfield still threw it to home plate, thinking there were just 2 outs, but Whitfield laughing as he heads back to the dugout. It's a big out number 3, and another jam escaped for Parker Matthews. He gets out, leaving runners at second and third. 7th inning stretch here at Riverside, all squared at 4 here on TCL TV. Seventh inning stretch time here at Riverside Stadium. That is the current postseason bracket as it stands today. Bombers firmly ensconced as of right now in that second semifinal spot for the Texas side of the bracket, while the King Cutters holding on narrowly to that second semifinal spot in Louisiana with a chance to face the King Cutters the final week of July. We come back for bottom 7. The Seguin Monsters and Victoria Generals all squared at 4. New man on the mound for Seguin, their third different one. It is the Monmouth Beach, New Jersey native Tyler Tilton. The sophomore out of Siena College, 6'3", 190, 0-2 this summer with 7 appearances, 1 start, with an 11.36 ERA, 12 2/3 innings pitched, 19 hits, 14 walks, 8 punch-outs. Was the one who gave up the bulk of the hits in their 12-3 loss a week ago versus Acadiana, where in just 2 innings gave up 6 earned runs and 4 hits, 4 walks, 2 punch-outs, and 15 batters faced. And will now face 4, 5, 6, bottom part of the heart of the order. Middle of the order, I should say, for Michael Oros' squad as Riley Bender leads things off. And the first pitch he sees is upstairs for ball 1. Bender tonight has only reached base once in a grounding out to a fielder's choice. He's 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly that resulted in an RBI. The first of Victoria's 4 runs being driven in, 2-0 now the count here for Bender. Tilton coming in, replacing Gabriel Rodriguez, who got 2 innings of relief work. And Arm continues to throw in Victoria's bullpen. As that one hits the outside corner, Bender showed bunt, pulled back at strike 1, 2-1. Victoria, 4 runs on 5 hits, no errors, but have left 8 runners on base, including leaving the bases loaded in the 6th. 2-1's a breaking ball that dropped all the way to earth. As that one dropped way, way low. Bender with a good eye, 3 balls and 1 strike. Right now we have 2 tie ball games, a 5-5 tie in Lafayette and a 4-4 tie here in Victoria as that one's upstairs, ball 4. 5-pitch walk to begin this bottom of the 7th inning. And Victoria now once again has a go-ahead run on base in the form of Riley Bender. As Jacob Sanchez will now come back to the dish, the UTRGV Vaquero, who is 0 for 3 on the night with a line out to short, a ground out to short, and a strikeout that ended the 5th. First pitch from Tilton. Inside, and that one hits Sanchez on the left shoulder. Sanchez had to turn around and dodge that one, but he gets nailed just at the back side of that left shoulder. He appears to be okay as he struts down 90 feet on that inside fastball from Tilton. And it is quickly runners at first and second with nobody out. The go-ahead run in scoring position. And Hal Perez, who has now come in for Evan S. Laxon, as we mentioned earlier, will now come in and pinch hit with a chance to take the lead. Perez has had a great month of July. If you've been watching our broadcasts closely and have been watching Hal Perez, you would know that he's had a great month of July. He's had 9 of his 10 RBIs this summer since June 28th. Shows bunt, pulls back. Ball 1 to Hal. The Camagüey, Puerto Rico born and raised native, now raised here in the Crossroads. The only hometown product on Michael Oros' roster, currently calling this ballpark home with the UH Victoria Jaguars. Showing bunt once again against Tilton. First baseman in PV keeping in, but now pulls back for a hit, but will just foul this one back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Riley Bender being walked to lead off the 7th inning on 5 pitches, and then Jacob Sanchez hit on the first pitch he saw, bottom 7. Now Perez replacing Evan S. Laxon, who went 0 for 3, but scored the 4th run of the night, the tying run for Victoria in the 6th. 1-1 to Hal. Shows bunt again, pulls back, it's low. Joy stays in front, 2 balls and a strike. Still 5-5 in Lafayette between the Gumbo Gators and King Cutters, as that contest is in the top of the 8th inning. We are currently bottom 7. 2 tied ball games between 4 teams, 3 of which currently lie in the TCL postseason bracket. Perez awaits his 2-1 from Tilton. Here it comes. Shows bunt again. Is going to lay it down. Tilton's there. He's going to go to third with a close play, and he is out at third base. Out at third base is Riley Bender. There was no need to apply a tag. And Riley Bender, who nearly slid off third base entirely, is tagged down as the lead runner is gone. Still runners at first and second with only one away. What a clutch play on the part of Tyler Tilton, who decides to gun down Riley Bender and does so successfully on a 1-5 fielder's choice. Hal Perez grounding into the fielder's choice for out number 1. Sanchez now at second with Perez at first for Diego Diaz, who's 0 for 2 with the walk. First pitch. Low and downstairs in the fake dirt, 1-0. Diaz walked back in the second, but grounded down in the fourth and popped down in the sixth. Generals trying to break that glass ceiling. They had the go-ahead run sitting 90 feet away in the sixth. And now have another chance at a go-ahead run sitting in scoring position right now here in the seventh. 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike one. Low and outside fastball that Diaz baited. Diaz went for. Great bait laid on the part of Tilton. 1-1. New Jersey native, one of the few East Coast members of the TCL. A whole lot of history at Siena College. Just down the road from, just down the highway from New York City. 1-1. Outside, Joyce able to keep it in front as well. 2-1. Even with the wild pitches tonight, Wick Joyce has done a fair job behind the mound, a fair job behind the plate in his first game back in the second half. He returned to the lineup tonight for Seguin for the first time since June 30th. 2-1. Losing the cap is Tilton as that one is once again low. 3 balls and 1 strike. Diaz is able to reach base and make it a bases loaded 1-out situation. Drew Schmidt would be the one to sit on deck with a chance to bring in the go-ahead runs. Schmidt is 0 for 3 tonight. Diaz come through here, a slight shift on the infield and a wide open hole on the left side. 3-1. Going forward is Diaz, but he fouls this one just to the left side. He was thinking the right way, trying to go to the opposite field. Went for the fastball that was too far inside from Tilton, and the payoff pitch awaits. Nearing the 10 o'clock hour here in the Central Time Zone. Max Cepeda here solo from the Party Box at Riverside Stadium in a 4-4 contest in Game 3 of a 4-game series between the River Monsters and Generals. Payoff pitch from Tilton. Runners go. That is low, ball 4. Bases loaded with 1 out is upcoming. And it will be Sanchez at third, Hal Perez at second, Diego Diaz at first for Drew Schmidt. The UT Tyler Patriot, one of the 2 UT Tyler members to be signed by head coach Michael Oros for this second half of the season. Schmidt 0 for 3 tonight with a pop out in the second, a fly out in the fourth, and a strikeout in the sixth. Go-ahead run 90 feet away with only 1 out on the board. First pitch. Low and just below. Joyce stays in front, ball 1. 4 straight balls now thrown by Tilton. Jacob Sanchez represents as the go-ahead run. The corner infielders playing close to the fake grass. Straight up shift right here from Seguin's infield. 1-0 to Schmidt. Line drive in right field. This one will stay up. Sanchez was not on third base, so there will be no tagging opportunity. And it's a massive out number 2. Schmidt nearly had a chance to drive in the go-ahead run, but it stayed far up as Xavier Arias has a gun of an arm and could have possibly unloaded to get Sanchez out at second base, or get Sanchez out at home plate. But it is a massive out number 2 as he lines out to right. Schmidt 0 for 4. And Mario Mendoza Jr. now the chance here. Bases loaded again. The bases were loaded to end the bottom of the 6th. Once again here at the bottom of the 7th. Can the Generals break through? Mendoza's first pitch is at the bottom of the zone, strike 1. Mendoza's reached base all 3 times, single in the 3rd, walked and scored in the 5th, and reached on an error in the 6th when she drove in the game's tying run. Top of the order lurks in the form of Connor Clark on deck. 0-1 from Tilton. Way upstairs, 1-1. Sanchez remains at 3rd. He was hit by a pitch. Al Perez grounded to a fielder's choice. He sits at 2nd. And Diego Diaz walked. He's at 1st. Defense playing straight up. Holes up the middle of the infield as well as to the right side. Can Mendoza come through in what has been a struggling summer for the Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islander? 1-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Bullpen quiet right now for both sides. Tilton coming in here in the 7th. And for the 2nd consecutive inning, the Generals have the bases loaded with a chance to take the lead. Just need 1 run to get back in control of this one. Can Mendoza come through? One, two. Low, and Joyce get a great block. An unreal block on that right leg by Whit Joyce. He keeps it in front and doesn't let it go behind him. We are all squared at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Deuce is wild on the scoreboard at Riverside and on the scoreboard on your screen. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bottom 7. With the bases loaded, nearly a full score bug. In a 4-4 game. Generals looking to take their 3rd lead of the night. 2-2 to Maria. Line drive to center field. Does that one get down? It does! Generals back in front. 2nd run comes home, and Al Perez will be a close play. He is safe! A 2-run RBI double for Mario Mendoza Jr. The biggest swing of the summer for him in his 6-4 Victoria. Mario Mendoza Jr., the Corpus Christi Islander, coming through in the biggest moment of his summer and what has been a struggling one for him. And what a moment for the TXA&M CC Durr. He drives in both runs. Hal Perez was given the stop sign rounding 3rd, but he did not stop. And it provides huge insurance. It's the first 2-run lead, the first multi-run lead of the night by either side. Connor Clark's first pitch he sees is downstairs for ball 1. What a moment for Mario Mendoza Jr. A 2-bagger here in the 7th that scores Jacob Sanchez and Hal Perez to make it a 2-run lead for Victoria. 1-0 is fouled just in front of home plate, 1-1. Now sitting at 3rd base is Diego Diaz. Mendoza sitting at 2nd. 2 more runners sitting in scoring position as Victoria has now scored. They've scored all 6 of their runs since the 3rd inning and have scored 5 of their 6 runs in the last 3 innings. 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and now 2 in the 7th. What a back-and-forth clash this one has been. 1-1. That one's just below the zone. 2 balls and a strike from Tilton. But Mario Mendoza just getting in just enough to drop right in front of Dakota Howard in center field. And Hal Perez, who was shown the stop sign at 3rd base by Michael Oros, rounds 3rd regardless and just gets in safely. In a ballpark he knows so well. 2-1. High fly ball to right. Xavier Arias is there. He waits for it underneath. He will make the catch. But Victoria now with the largest lead of the night, which is 2 runs. 6-4, they now sit in front. We go to the 8th here on TCL TV. A thriller we have seen throughout on this Thursday night. And Julio Garcia will take them out when we come back. Says you are watching Victoria Generals Baseball exclusively on TCL TV as we head to the top of the 8th inning. Victoria's third different arm of the night will now be stepping the mound as they have now their largest lead of the night, which is 2 runs, 6-4, and what has been a classic here at Riverside Stadium. Julio Garcia now steps on the mound. The Baytown native, the junior out of UT Tyler, standing at 6'3", 223. Garcia in 2 appearances with an ERA of 6 and 3 innings pitched. No hits, 2 walks, 3 punch-outs, has allowed 2 earned runs. His pitched outings, including a week ago exactly against Baton Rouge in a 9-3 victory, and then pitched 2 innings of shutout relief with 2 strikeouts against Lake Charles. Or two innings of relief baseball, I should say, in the Sunday win, which was a 9-5 victory for Victoria. In the sweep of the 2-game set against Lake Charles. The first pitch is low. 4-1, as now we have just been given word that Anthony Avalos, superstar and TCL MVP frontrunner, has now re-entered the game. He comes in tonight as Matthew McClellan, who sits at the dish, swings and misses. It's a 1-1 count here for McClellan, the 2-hole hitter. It's 2-3-4 in the Seguin order. Due up here in this 8th inning to face Garcia, but Avalos has now come in. The second pitch hitter of the night. Avalos was supposed to have a scheduled off day today, but now replaces, it appears to be Drew Schmidt, as that one's grounded into the right field hole, as that one is just past a diving Drew Schmidt. As that will be in, it appears, as we'll give the defensive alignments really quick, as McClellan leads things off here in the 8th with a single with Xavier Perez coming up. Riley Bender moves from shortstop to third. Drew Schmidt moves from third to second, and Mario Mendoza Jr. is out of this game. So after Mario Mendoza Jr. has the biggest hit of the night with a 2 RBI double in the 7th, he now has been taken out of this game after his productive night. So he has now been taken out. Riley Bender moves from short to third. Drew Schmidt from third to second. And Mario Mendoza Jr. will now be replaced by Anthony Avalos. So it is an 0-1 count here on Xavier Perez, who sits at the dish. So Avalos will technically be going into the 9-hole of this order, which is obviously unorthodox, but it's technically like a second leadoff guy, which Avalos has been for much of the month of July. But now comes in to replace Mario Mendoza Jr. as he's now in short. It's a 1-1 count here for Perez. Perez tonight, in his Riverside Stadium homecoming, has reached base twice on a double and single in the first and third, but has flied out and struck out since. 2 for 4 on the night in what has been a 6 for 12 series. Running on the 1-1 is McClellan, and that one's in right field for a base hit. Rounding second and off to third is McClellan. He's shown the stop sign. Back-to-back singles to begin this 8th inning. A tying run sitting at first base in Xavier Perez, a 3 for 5 night in his return to Riverside Stadium. Perez, the former Texas State Bobcat and soon-to-be transfer at the University of Houston. So McClellan now at third as he was running on the 1-1 pitch. It goes beyond the second baseman Schmidt. As now Adam Peavy gets another RBI chance here in the 8th. First pitch. Way upstairs, and that's behind Hal Perez. Will be a close play at home plate. Flips it to Garcia at home. He is safe. It's 6-5. A nearly bang-bang play as Garcia nearly was able to tag Patrick McClellan at home plate. No argument coming from the Generals' dugout, as both runners were able to advance on the wild pitch. It is now 6-5. 1-0 the count here on Peavy. What a back-and-forth contest this has been, folks. Adam Peavy, first pitch upstairs, or second pitch he sees is also upstairs. 2 balls, no strikes. Nobody in the bullpen right now for Victoria. With Garcia literally just coming into this game. McClellan has now come across to score on the wild pitch. Xavier Perez now sits at second, representing the tying run for Seguin off the wild pitch. As the 2-0 is high fly to right. Diaz is there. He sits underneath it. Tagging will be Perez, but nope, he stays at second base. A massive out number 1 for Garcia and Victoria. So PV flies out to right for out number 1, and Ryder Hernandez will now arrive back at home plate. Hernandez has reached base once tonight on a walk back in the 5th, but is grounded out, popped out, and lined out tonight. Over 3 with a walk. He's now having to gather himself is Julio Garcia. Victoria with 6 runs on 6 hits, no errors, and have left 10 runners on. Seguin, 5 runs on 10 hits. So that one's upstairs. 1 ball and no strings from Garcia to Hernandez. Seguin now with 5 runs. Or actually, we'll add in these totals here. And 2 hits in the 7th. Just doing this here on my scorebook here. So that one's a swing and a miss by Hernandez. Strike 1. 1-1 the count to the Seguin shortstop. 2 hits with 2 runners left on. So Seguin, now with these 2 hits in this inning, have now 11 hits as that one's lined up the middle into center field for a base hit. Rounding third and now being given the late stop sign is Xavier Perez. Advancing to second, and second base is Hernandez, and he is safe at second. Hernandez taking advantage of the long throw from Damian Whitfield that was in the sky for ages. But it is going to be basically, I believe it will probably be ruled as a single, to which Hernandez advanced on the fielder's choice. So it will most likely be a single where he just sits at second base because of the fielder's choice, but there is only 1 out on the board. Michael Oros now comes to the mound to have a discussion with Garcia. There is currently no one in the Generals' pen, not a single human. But to recap this top of the 8th inning, Patrick McClellan and Xavier Perez with back-to-back singles to begin the 8th. It was runners at the corners with nobody out. Then McClellan was able to score on a wild pitch, advancing Perez to second and McClellan to score to make it 6-5. And then Xavier Perez was able to then advance to third off of the single by Ryder Hernandez that you just saw, but then he advanced to second on the fielder's choice after the long throw from Whitfield that came home as Perez was given the late stop sign where he halted after he took 3 steps rounding third base. So it will now be runners at third and second, the tying run at third base sitting 90 feet away, the go-ahead run in scoring position for Seguin. They have now scored the River Monsters in 3 of the last 4 innings. Victoria scored in each of the last 3. And Xavier Arias will now be up. He's reached base twice on a hit by pitch and single. Garcia on the right side of the rubber, first pitch. Outside corner, low, ball 1. Generals, who came into this inning with their biggest lead of the night, which was 2 runs, quickly was cut in half. Back to a 1-run lead at 6-5. 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike 1. If you're maybe joining us and swapping between the 2 games, between the game in Lafayette and the game here in the Crossroads, Max Cepeda here, the voice of the Victoria Generals from the Party Box at Riverside Stadium. 1-1. High fly ball foul. Down the count, 1-2 is Arias. Sitting on deck is Hunter Ham. But 12 hits for Seguin on 5 runs, 2 errors. They have also left 12 runners on base. 1-2 is fouled. Remains 1-2. Victoria, we already mentioned. There's 6 runs on 6 hits with no errors. Seguin has 2 errors tonight. Generals tonight have left 10 runners on base compared to the River Monsters 12. Combined 22 left on tonight. A whole lot of traffic in a game that has been full of back and forth blows by these 2 offenses. 1-2. High fly ball popped up. Perez is back there. He's going to try to possibly make a catch. He'll leap forward, and he nearly had it. Hal Perez now has his cleat stuck in the netting, and he gets stuck out of it. and he nearly made an unbelievable catch against the fence and gets a round of applause from the Riverside Stadium faithful. That would have been one of the catches of the year across the league if he made it. But he falls just short as he tried to basically pull the catcher's version of robbing a home run, even though it's technically he's just robbing a foul ball from landing on the ground. But his glove came that close. Wish we had an instant replay to document that one again, folks. My goodness. But it remains 1-2 here for Arias. At third base, Xavier Perez. At second base, Ryder Hernandez. Julio Garcia's 1-2 pitch. Swing and a foul tip back in the netting again. Arias continues to stay alive. Nearing the bottom of the hour here in the 10 o'clock window. We had a 4-hour contest last night, a 3.5-hour contest on Tuesday, and another lengthy one tonight between these two. A combined 10-plus hours of baseball in these last 3 days. 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Foul tip in the glove. Big out number 2 for Julio Garcia in Victoria. 2 gone here in the 8th. And he wasn't ready indeed, as the sound effect plays here over the speakers at Riverside as Hunter Ham comes back to the dish. Ham has reached base 3 times on a hit by pitch and 2 walks. He hasn't reached farther than third base, and he struck out back in the 7th. That one's a wild pitch. Hal Perez going to get a chance to tag him out. That's going to be a close play. He is out at home plate. Xavier Perez out at home plate, and Hal Perez putting his body on the line to make the tag to prevent the tying run. Perez slow to get back on his feet, but is back up and is hobbling on his right leg. Perez, who came into this game to replace Evan S. Laxon, does so and makes the tag of the season to save the 1-1 lead from Victoria as he limps back to the Victoria dugout. 1-run lead. Sweet Caroline plays. We go bottom 8. TCL TV when we come back. Here in Riverside Stadium. And as this song mentions, this game has gone well overboard as the Victoria Generals, who sit atop the TCL at 26-10 and 10-3 in the second half, against the Seguin River Monsters, who are 11-25 overall and 5-9 in the second half, have played a thrilling 4-game series, and in Game 3 have a narrow 1-run lead as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. If you're joining us for the first time, Max Cepeda here solo from the Riverside Stadium Party Box, as it will be 2-3-4, heart of the General's order due up, as Tyler Tilton continues to throw his warm-up pitches. Damian Whitfield, Travis Bragg, Riley Bender are due up here, bottom 8. Scoring update across the league as we begin this bottom of the 8th inning. Also in the bottom of the 8th is, actually no, in the top of the 9th, it is still remaining all tied at 5 between Lake Charles and Acadiana in Southern Lafayette. That game is 5-5. We are 6-5. And that one's outside for ball 1 to Damian Whitfield. DeWitt tonight has reached base twice on a single and hit by pitch. 1 for 3. Not gone farther than third base. 1-0. Just low below the zone. 2 balls, no strikes. Tyler Tilton, the New Jersey native, back out for a second inning of relief work after he gave up the 2 go-ahead runs bottom 7. And the 2 RBI double by Mario Mendoza Jr., who is now out of this game, replaced by Anthony Avalos. 2-0. Inside corner, strike 1. The 3 switches that were made around as Drew Schmidt moved from third to second. Riley Bender from short to third, and then Avalos moving in at short to replace Mendoza in the 9-hole spot in the order, which most likely may not even be coming up if the Generals can hold on to this lead. 3 balls and 1 strike here for Damian. Tilton giving up two runs on 1 hit and leaving 2 on base back in the 7th. That one goes all the way to the backstop. But regardless of the fact it is ball 4 and Witt will just walk 90 feet. The off-base runner and the free pass given up by Tilton here in the bottom of the 8th. Travis Bragg will come back to the dish. Bragg has reached base 3 times tonight. Had a 2 RBI single back in the 5th that gave Victoria what was then a 3-2 lead. But just to give you a thought, of the 11 combined runs we've seen tonight, 10 of those 11 combined runs have all happened in the 5th inning or later. That is how thrilling this one has been, with both sides exchanging blows, 5 different lead changes. First pinch is actually going to be a pickoff throw from Tilton. Bragg had 2 incredible offensive seasons at Vernon College. Now transferring to Texas State as a junior this coming spring. Joining a Sun Belt Conference team in the Bobcats that has produced great Major League talent in recent years. That one's a pickoff throw over. 2 pickoff throws to the speedy Damian Whitfield, who has already shown his base running theatrics throughout this series, especially a night ago. That one is low and gets away from Whit Joyce. And now going to be advancing to second base on the wild pitch is Whitfield, representing much needed insurance for Victoria. Winners 7-5 a night ago, leading 6-5 tonight. First time Whitfield has advanced on a base tonight. He has yet to steal a base tonight. Wish we had a number and stat to bring you of how many consecutive games Damian has stolen at least a bag. I believe it stands at 3, I believe. The Generals, who have only collected 6 total hits tonight, which is an unreal number considering how back and forth this game is again. You mentioned Seguin with 3 or 6 more hits. They have doubled the number of hits. And Victoria has 12-6, including 3 singles in that top of the 8th inning alone. They're able to get within 1. 1-0 to Bragg. He shows bunt, pulls back. It's outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Now gotten word that the Lake Charles Acadiana game has moved to the bottom of the 9th. The Cane Cutters have 3 walk-offs in their ballpark already this season, as they look for a 4th consecutive victory and to hand the Gumbo Gators a 7th consecutive loss. Grounded into right. That's past the glove of the second baseman McClellan. Running third and coming home is Whitfield. Easily scoring. Bragg is over at second base as the ball sits behind the backstop. 7-5 Victoria. An RBI single for Travis Bragg, his third run driven in of the night. There are still no outs collected here in this 8th inning. But Whitfield and Bragg swap places at second base. On the RBI single, he comes home on the throw home. The third run driven in of the night for Travis. He's got 16 now in the summer. Comes up Riley Bender, who also has an RBI driven in tonight and has reached base twice in the 5th and 7th. He shows bunt. That's going to stay in the air and is caught by Whit Joyce on the fly, one away. A failed bunt attempt on the part of Riley Bender, who's quickly retired. He is technically 0 for 4 with the sacrifice, or 0 for 3 with the sacrifice fly. Back in the 3rd, that drove in Victoria's first run. It's a pop out to the catcher on the part of the bunt. As Bragg sits at second base, representing more insurance for the Generals, as they lead by 2, 7-5 for the second straight day. Jacob Sanchez now at the dish, 0 for 3 with a hit by pitch and run scored. That one is low for ball 1 to Sanchez. Tyler Tilton remains on the mound. There is no one in the bullpen for Seguin. This very well may be his ball game, regardless of how many batters come to the dish here in this 8th inning. Hal Perez sits on deck. Zach Ryan could be possibly warming in the Generals' pen. Victoria's closer going to third is Bragg. That throw is wide. Travis will come home and score with ease. It's 8-5. An errant throw from Whit Joyce, the 3rd error of the night for the Sturs, and their 5th of this series. I believe it is 2 balls and no strikes. As Bragg, trying to steal third base, is able to come home. And now the bases sit empty. As Bragg scores on the E2. Two balls and no strikes for Sanchez. I believe we've had this situation many times this season with Victoria, where it's a stolen base attempt, and then they are able to come home on the errant throw home. I don't believe it counts as a stolen base because it's a chance for the runner to be tagged out, so it will be an E2, and the 3rd error of the night for the Sturs. Victoria claiming their 7th hit of the night in this inning as that one's outside. 3 balls and no strikes for Sanchez. Tilton not able to finish this 8th inning. So 2 men who have reached base in this 8th inning have both come across to score. That's strike 1. Whitfield walked, came around to score on the RBI single by Bragg, and now Bragg coming to score on the error by Joyce. Tilton's 3-1. Inside, ball 4. And this bottom of the 8th inning continues as the Victoria Generals, who add 2 huge insurance runs in this 8th inning to give them their largest lead of the night with 3 runs. Now continues with another walk allowed by Seguin as Hal Perez comes back to the dish. In total, for Seguin's pitching staff tonight, that free pass we just saw is the 7th given up by Seguin pitching tonight. And the 4th of the night for Tyler Tilton. First pitch to Hal Perez. High fly ball to left. This one's going back. Perez is at the wall. That one's off the wall. Rounding second and going to third is Perez, or Sanchez will be a close play. He is out at third base. Nearly leaving the yard was Hal Perez in his home ballpark with UHV, but nearly had a chance to drive in a run. Instead, he will just be reaching on the single as Sanchez is tagged down on the fielder's choice. So it is 2 outs and the runner remains at first. No 9th run or even 10th run coming across the dish as Sanchez is tagged down the fielder's choice. The 7-6-3 throwout, or 7-6-5 throwout, I should say. As Perez reaches first, that is out number 2. as he now sits at first base alone with Diego Diaz back at the dish. Diaz with 2 walks tonight in the 2nd and 7th, reaching as far as third base but not scoring. 1-0 is the count on him. That's outside. Victoria, if they can pull off this victory, will be a 7th in a row and 8th in their last 9 games, reaching 27-10 and 11-3 in the second half, tying Brazos Valley for the best second half record in the league. 2-0. Line drive to left, that will go just foul from Diaz. Just past the bottom of the hour here in the 10 o'clock hour. 3.5 hours of thrilling baseball here at Riverside. The closer, Zach Ryan, currently warming, it appears, in the Gens bullpen. As Ryan, who claimed the save on Tuesday night in what was a run lead, would still receive a save in what is now a 3-run lead for the Generals. And a 2-2 count here for Diaz. It will be 8, 9, and 1. Due up for the Sturs top 9, in which Joyce, Colin Correjo, and Dakota Howard. Possibly could see a pinch hitting there with Correjo, the DH. Advancing is Perez. That's a swing and a miss by Diaz. Strike 3 and the inning is over. But we have 2 more insurance runs to the Victoria Generals. We go to the 9th. Gens up 3, and their closer possibly lurking. We'll see who Michael Luro sends out for the 9th when we come back. Stay with us, folks, in a thriller on TCL TV. When will they learn? The Victoria Generals lead by 3 against the Seguin River Monsters as we head to the top of the 9th. Their largest lead yet, and their closer, Zach Ryan, now steps on the mound as the 4th different arm of the night for your Victoria Generals. Zach Ryan, the Houston Christian Husky, 1-1 with a 2.34 ERA in 12 appearances, with 4 saves, 15 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 7 walks, 13 punchouts. Got the save on Tuesday night in Game 1 of this series, where he threw an inning of relief and struck out a batter. Faced the minimum. will face 7, 8, 9. Bottom third of the order. Hunter Ham leads things off here in the ninth. First pitch from Ryan. Line drive down the left field line is foul. Strike one. Scoring update across the league. Lake Charles and Acadiana has gone to extras. They are still squared at 5 as they sit in the top of the 10th. We sit here in the ninth. Hunter Ham tonight has reached base 3 times, has walked twice, been hit by a pitch. That one hits the outside corner for strike 2 from Ryan. Becoming more and more solidified as the ninth inning man in save situations for head coach Michael Oros. 0-2. Check swing, did he go around? Yes, he did. Out number 1, 2 more to go for Victoria. Hunter Ham with a big check swing, strike 3. Victoria, that makes it a 5th or 4th consecutive inning with at least 1 punch out. It has been 7th, that is the 7th punch out in total for the night for Generals pitching. Now up at the plate is Whit Joyce. Also has reached base 3 times, is 1 for 3 with a single in the 7th. First pitch inside for ball 1. Ryan set on that center right side of the rubber. 1-1. 1-0. He's popped up. Riley Bender's after it. So is Al Perez. Bender thinks he's got it. He's got it right in front of the Generals dugout. And Victoria is 1 out away. Colin Correjo will be the final hope for Seguin. Generals on the verge of a 7th consecutive victory and an 8th in their last 9 tries. Generals are 7-2 in the month of July, looking for an 8th victory of the month. First pitch, upstairs, ball 1 to Correjo. Colin tonight has scored back in the 6th. He's 1 for 3 with a single back in the 4th. Also reached on a fielder's choice back in the 7th. And advanced on a pass ball. That's a swing and a miss, strike 1. Ryan has faced the minimum in 2 of his last 4 times trying to claim a save. Would claim his 5th of the summer if he's successful right now. 1-1. Inside, no call, 2 balls and 1 strike. Seguin with the loss would fall to 15 games under 500, and 5-10 in the second half would be the first team in the league to reach 10 second half defeats. 2-1. Outside, 3 balls and a strike. Top of the lineup if Correjo's able to reach, and Dakota Howard sits on deck. Wind softly blowing from right to left. 3-1. Upstairs, cold strike 2. Correjo took a couple steps out of the batter's box. And Ryan and the Generals sent 1 strike away. A thrilling series between these 2 sides. And so far, one side has been on the right side all 3 times. And that remains the case, at least for now. Zach Ryan thought he had strike 3. Correjo had a swing and a miss, but it was fouled in and out of the glove. And the payoff pitch remains here for Correjo. Generals dug out on the edge of their seats. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Victory in Victoria again. 7 consecutive. A 5th save for Zach Ryan. 8-5 your final here at Riverside. 3-0. The Seguin River Monsters fall for a 3rd consecutive night against these Victoria Generals. And they have lost now a 5th consecutive, or now lost for the 6th consecutive time. They are now 5-10 in the second half. Victoria, on the other hand, as we will update the standings screen for you in just a moment, as it appears we will be the first game to finish on this Thursday night. As Victoria improves to 27-10 and 11-3 in the second half. As Seguin falls to 11-26, 5-10 in the second half. 16 games back overall, now 6.5 back of Brazos Valley for the Texas Division lead in second half play. We'll take a look and show you, of course, the standings as they sit right now. Brazos Valley and Victoria now with even records in the second half, both 11-3. Unreal second halves for both of these sides through 2 weeks of baseball since June 28th. Bottom of the 10th inning, still tied at 5, is Lake Charles and Acadiana. We'll show you at least the final box score from now, a 3-hour and 33-minute classic here at Riverside Stadium. Generals 8 runs on 10 hits, no errors. They leave 11 runners on base. Seguin 5 runs on 12 hits with 3 errors tonight, bringing their season-wide total in errors to 72, which remains the league lead in the category, unfortunately. For the Sturs, they left 13 runners on base. Winner tonight is Julio Garcia, as Garcia was able to pitch an inning with the lead, 3 hits, gave up an earned run, no walks, and a strikeout. Zach Ryan, of course, gets the save, win an inning, and 2 strikeouts. And Tyler Tilton, who gave up the go-ahead 2 RBI double by Mario Mendoza Jr., it receives the loss with 2 innings, 3 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, and a strikeout. So that is going to do it for us here on this Thursday night. We will have Game 4 of this series tomorrow night, of course, with a free ticket night here at Riverside Stadium, presented by our friends at Atzenhofer, the official used cars dealership of the Victoria Generals. But thanks to everyone in the Generals organization who, of course, makes this possible, our entire intern team that makes this possible every single night for you. But this is once again Max Cepeda signing off from Riverside Stadium in the banks of the Guadalupe River. Your final score, your Victoria Generals 8, the Seguin River Monsters 5, and a 7th consecutive victory for your good red and blue as they make it 7 straight and 8 in their last 9 and are 27-10 overall, 11-3 in the second half. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow night at 6:50 when we catch on the air, and good night once again